Chris.
Heath.
Let's do it.
Oh, yeah. Let's get into it.
This is either going to be the best episode or the episode that kills us.
This is going to be a strong episode.
Uh-huh.
There might be some emotions raised, but it'll be a fun time, I'm sure.
Things are going to be said that have never been said.
Oh, my gosh. Well, Happy New Year, Heath.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
We're recording this on January 1st, 2023. This is, of course, episode 80 of Mobius Tubes, a video gaming podcast. And this will be our year in review episode. We'll look back on 2022. We'll reminisce. We've both been playing a boatload of games.
That being said, in true Heath fashion, I only have 9.
Oh, when we count down our top 10 of the year.
Yeah, and even that's a stretch.
Well, as long as none of them made you physically ill like last year, I count that as an improvement.
That remains to be seen.
Oh, no. Okay.
Damn it. Why are you scalding hot? I don't know how dials work. Sorry, I'm doing this in reverse.
Yeah.
I'm in the mirror dimension.
Right. You're playing Mario Kart mirror tourney. For intro banter, you want to briefly touch on the gaming bar we went to last night?
Yeah, so of the 2 gamerific venues in our zip code, we've been to Nerdvana and Swillburger.
Yeah.
And they ought to be mentioned in the same breath because they are the same place, but they succeed in opposite areas.
They're tonally very different.
Nerdvana probably has better food.
Probably. Yeah. Definitely more expensive food.
Definitely more. Yes. It is a restaurant with games.
Right.
Swillburger is a gaming place with food and drinks.
Yeah.
Swillburger impressed me more than Nerdvana.
I had the more enjoyable time at Swillburger.
Right.
But I was more impressed by Nerdvana. Just the fact that a venue like that exists locally. Super clean, super stylized, brand new building, and every single table equipped with modern consoles like PS5s, Xbox Series X's, Switches.
I've never held a DualSense yet.
Right, that was one of my first times holding one.
Yeah.
We messed around with Astra's Playroom.
And boy, was it a room for play.
Sure it was. Yeah, the highlights for me were Astra's Playroom and Towerfall Ascension. Never got to play that before.
And that one, you can feel the Celeste in it.
Yes.
Every dash and jump.
And wall jumping, yep.
I think it needs to zoom in on the characters when it's a 1v1.
Okay.
I think, you know how, like...
On the large courses
if
in
you play
Smash,
on
Temple.
Zelda's Hyrule.
Yeah.
Patch that into... I forgot the name of the game. Smash
Towerfall.
Celeste. Thank you.
Yeah. That wasn't a concern for me. I felt the course was small enough that wasn't necessary, but
I don't know.
To each their own.
Bailey couldn't tell one chunk of pixels from another.
Okay. Maybe character models could be more distinct.
Right. We did not meet Randy Pitchford.
No, but the place is run by his wife.
Yep.
Kind of crazy.
Did you notice in the marquee of television screens right behind the check-in desk, there's always a Borderlands?
There was always some Borderlands.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It's the house that...
To be expected.
It's the house that the Freakos built. What's the name of those enemies?
Psychos?
Yeah, what did I say?
And then the drink I had was the Black Flag. That was tasty.
Yes. Like I said, the dining options were okay, but they ran out of chips before we got there. So that's a strike.
Which was shocking considering how dead the place was.
Yeah. No, but the gaming experience at Swillburger was better.
Yeah, because it's more... Everything you can play at Nerdvana, I can just
free.
Boot up at my house.
Right.
Where I can't play pinball machines at my house, which Swillburger possesses.
Yeah.
Nor can I play arcadey Pac-Man 4-player versus...
If they could combine their efforts. Still, what our waitress was saying about how, like, Rochester is trying to become the play mecca.
Yeah. Well,
more so than it already is.
We have the Museum of Play.
It kind of makes no sense for you to leave.
Right, yeah. I feel at home here.
I would stay if I could.
Yeah. Very cool.
All right.
Intro banter out of the way.
Yep.
Now it's all business from here. You want me to throw a softball? We could talk Death Stranding.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I'm still playing Death Stranding. I'm firmly invested. I like the game quite a bit. Probably not to the heights you adore the game, but yeah, I love Death Stranding. I have more than doubled my playtime since we last spoke.
Nice.
I'm about 30 hours in. I'm in the middle of episode 6, which I think is all about Dead Man. I like the formulaic structure the game has. Every episode is kind of dedicated to a member of the cast, a character, and then you gradually learn their backstory, their history over the course of that episode, and then you move on to the next character. So far, I've learned the deal with Fragile. I've learned the deal with Mama. I've got many more to go, I'm sure. And yeah, the story, when it is character focused like it has been lately, that I don't mind. I like that. Like the difficult choice Fragile had to make in her backstory.
Oh, sure. That's good.
Yeah, that was tense.
And it's good that Fragile's in the sequel.
Yes. So story has been pleasantly surprising me lately, more so than the mumbo jumbo of the early hours. And I have just a couple of points worth highlighting.
It's true. There is like as far as the mumbo bell curve, it's
yes. It peters out.
Yep.
Now it's actually like compelling character development, not just here's dooms, learn about your BT. Yeah.
The beach.
I had a standout moment in Death Stranding. It felt like Kojima reached out of the screen and shook my hand because I understood what he was trying to do.
He doesn't have a cameo in this game, does he?
He doesn't. I just felt like I was totally aligned with his directorial intent.
Oh no, he does actually.
Oh, Kojima has his
remember.
likeness is in the game.
If you look in the mirror at the private room.
Ooh.
Yep.
I'll need to investigate that.
Yeah.
But here's what happened to me. I was in the second main open world area of Death Stranding, and I was far to the south, and I was going to be returning back north to the distribution center.
By Lake Knot?
It might have been the distro center
Knot
south.
City.
Yeah, I was coming from south.
Just use
Knot City.
buzzwords. Just
Sure.
say.
I had this northward journey, and it was going to be a standard delivery, nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a long journey, and I set off for my maiden voyage ill-prepared. What I wasn't expecting was this, over the course of the whole hike, I was getting pummeled with heavy timefall. It was like to the point where the ground was becoming muddy and my traversal was slower, even on ground that should be stable. I was really slowed down. I was making progress at a crawl. This was maybe the most stressed I've been, more so than when I'm around the mules, more so than when I'm in BT infested areas.
Just watching those containers.
My container cargo
just dust
quality
away.
was rapidly depleting. I'm like, this is fine. I've been holding on to container repair spray for this very purpose.
Just wait, do the motion. You're just
you take off this like aerosol
It's classic.
can.
Yeah.
You point it back at yourself and then spray
Why
away.
would you ever hold it forward?
Maybe if you threw cargo
Just
on
a
the
stack
ground.
of boxes in front of you?
Yeah, I
Okay.
suppose.
Yeah.
It is kind of weird that it doesn't default to pointing at you.
Right.
But yeah,
I thought that maybe like the containers on your legs wouldn't be hit by the back spray, but it surely does.
probably. So timefall, the rain and Death Stranding erodes anything it touches.
Yep.
So all of my delivery goods that I have on my back, their containers were corroding away rapidly before my eyes, which means they were about to start chipping away at my cargo quality, which would tarnish my reputation as a porter.
Far fewer stars upon delivery.
Exactly. So I'm liberally applying this container repair spray, and it is not going to last. I see the writing on the wall, Heath. I am not going to make it. Now I've depleted all my spray, and I still have like half the journey left. And I'm flirting with the idea of like reloading.
Are you carrying a PCC?
Probably not. No.
Okay.
There was a stretch of the time where I did not have those.
Okay.
Plus, well, what did you have in mind? Like a timefall shelter?
Yes.
I might not have had the raw materials to like build it though. So even
No, those are Instapops. Surely.
when you set down a bridge, I think you need to supply it with raw materials.
Right, because a bridge is a bridge.
I've never tried a timefall shelter, so maybe you're right.
It's like a generator.
Okay.
If you wanted to upgrade it, then you'd have to pump it full of V-Bucks.
Okay, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, level 1, maybe that's free. But I had sunk too much time into this delivery. I wasn't going to reload. I was just going to deliver my destroyed cargo.
Substandard.
But then I crested a hill in this rocky landscape, and there, before my eyes, the sun rays came down, and there was another player's trike waiting for me, a long-range vehicle that would make me travel way faster in all the muddy terrain, because I was on foot at this point. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is just what I needed. And I ran up to it, hopped on, sped my way to the distribution center, made it in the nick of time. The containers were just dying off. My cargo was still intact.
Right.
And I was so appreciative of this other player I'm never going to meet. As soon as I completed my delivery, I went back to the bike and spammed like as many times as I could.
Yeah.
Just to show my token of appreciation. It was... Death Stranding is like an asynchronous multiplayer game where you never directly interact with any other players, but you form this community as you connect the United Cities of America with the chiral network, that you can come into contact with other players' objects. And it's cool playing a big AAA video game where all of the multiplayer interactions you have are universally positive, because so many games are, PvP, competitive, prove your mettle. Death Stranding, it's restrictive in the sense that the only way you ever interact with someone is to have like a cooperative,
if they leave cargo
interaction.
Yeah.
Well, it's often a very solitary game. You're just Sam Porter Bridges walking in a desolate landscape by yourself. The community that forms around the connections, I was feeling what Kojima was going for in that moment.
And hats off to Kojima. You'd have to go out of your way to not get that experience at least once in a playthrough. Like
Right.
You'd have to like Skyrim up a mountain to avoid, to not happen upon the outreached hand, like you said.
The opportunities are aplenty for
Yeah.
something like that to happen.
I'm having a hard time with my second playthrough.
Yeah?
I'm tinkering with like the roboticist and the engineer.
Oh, I just met them.
You just met them?
I think I just made my first delivery to the roboticist.
Damn. All right. Okay. I'm having an issue because I know what's in store. Well, that's not true, because like I just learned of a feature in Director's Cut. Also, did you know that obviously Epic Games for Christmas,
Yes.
giving everybody Death Stranding, they initially uploaded the Director's Cut SKU.
I heard about this drama.
And Jeff was like, take it off.
They had to revoke it
Yeah.
and switched it to the standard version.
Surely, couldn't you have like played it if you got it?
I think if you got the director's cut, you're probably golden.
Yeah.
But there was a limited window, and then you feel like a second-class citizen if you arrive a little later on Christmas.
Right.
And now you only get the standard edition.
Yeah. But the standard edition that was enough to sell me super hard. I just learned of a feature in Director's Cut that I have yet to get my hands on, and I want to get my hands on it, but I'm like trying to like jockey with these mules, and I don't have all the upgrades that I remembered. I just went and got the engineers thing from Ghost Town.
I see.
And so like because I wanted to catch up with you.
Yeah.
Like before you start building zip lines.
I now have the ability to.
Okay.
Speaking of gaining access to new tools, the progress curve in Death Stranding, it is fast and furious.
You get new hot every turn.
Constantly.
Yeah.
I get notifications where, you now have non-lethal assault rifle level 3. And I'm like, I haven't even used level 1 yet.
Yeah.
So it can be a little overwhelming, the number of tool tips that appear. And like Mama keeps hopping on the phone with new info for you.
You can now build PCC level 2. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, crazy.
It's a lot to get to grips with.
Still can't recycle living cargo, though.
That was a funny Reddit post. How do you recycle living cargo? The last thought I had before we move on to other games was...
So does Death Stranding count on your top 10 list yet?
I was going to address that later. It will not make an appearance on my top 10 list.
Right, because if it did, then I could include Mass Effect 2, having played 12 minutes.
Right. Yeah, so any game I have not finished this year, even though I put 30 hours into Death Stranding, it will be eligible for my top 10 list next year.
Yeah.
The last thought I had was, I'm surprised how funny this game is. In surprising ways.
Which is Norman Reedus?
So the game has had a couple jokes that landed for me, and they were like jokes through mechanisms. So I texted you one of them. The fact that I was driving around a truck,
Oh, yeah.
I got caught on a rock, and all of a sudden a button prompt appeared, press A to jump when I'm in this big 4-wheel truck.
I took that at face value. I didn't even think of the absurdity.
And I'm like, what does it mean, jump? I press A and the whole vehicle just does a little hop.
It's just the monster truck suspension shocks.
The fact that the universal press A to jump in a video game was applied to a vehicle was very funny to me. In a game that goes to great lengths to like simulate, the wear and tear on your shoes.
Right. It could not be more true to life in those aspects.
And like maintaining your balance, make sure all the cargo on your back is evenly distributed.
But
and all of a sudden you're jumping with the truck.
And Norman can double jump if he's got the right power skeleton.
Ooh, okay. I don't think I have that one yet.
Yeah.
And then another mechanical joke that I found very funny. It's kind of subtle, but like when you emerge safely out of a BT-infested zone, the fact that your BB gives you likes cracked me up.
Yeah.
This infant understands the social currency of Death Stranding.
Doesn't the Odra deck just go like, whoo, wipes your brow or says like, bye-bye, ghosts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
because that's BB controlling the Odra deck?
BB powers it, yeah. I think the Odra deck interprets your BB's signals.
Yeah. And then it taps you on the shoulder.
So, yeah, those aren't dialogue jokes, but the mechanical jokes that Death Stranding pulls, they crack me up. So I didn't expect to appreciate that.
You just got to keep playing.
Yep, I'm going to keep chugging along.
Yep.
Death Stranding is a game, well, while I'm playing it, I am immensely enjoying myself. But I guess the one negative is when I'm outside the game, I never feel a super strong pull to come back.
That's true.
Because I guess there's not like there's no
Death Stranding withdrawal.
Yeah, I kind of know what I'm in for every play session. It's going to be another satisfying delivery, maybe some quirky cutscenes play. But there's no like big hook that's keeping me constantly hungry for more. But I have to acknowledge every time I finish a game session of Death Stranding, I leave a happy customer. And that's really all I had to say about Death Stranding for this check-in. I'm sure I have like 20 hours to go or something.
Yeah, are you decked out in gold yet?
Is that just cosmetic? Whenever I get like a new power skeleton, it says you've unlocked like standard, silver, gold.
That is cosmetic, yeah.
I don't usually bother with the gold.
Gold in universe has like
lore
context,
implications.
right?
Yeah, it's like chiralium density.
Yeah,
is associated with
this
gold.
gaudy texture.
Yeah.
All right, good. That's all we'll say.
All right, wrapping up Death Stranding. Yeah. Moving on. Heath, what do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about your Christmas gift to me, because that is the game that I've played the most.
Sweet. Okay.
Chris graciously sent me a code to Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Yeah.
The Nintendo Ubisoft XCOM extravaganza.
The collaboration you never knew would happen. Yeah.
And it's not trivial.
Right.
You actually got to put some thought into your where you put your chess pieces.
It's a surprise that this game exists at all. It's a surprise how tactically taxing it can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you just head empty autopilot your way through this seemingly easy Nintendo game, you'll end up on the wrong side of a rabid Kong.
Sure. Right.
So I'm 50% through. I've unlocked Peach. I just got to do like the King Boo's area, Bowser's area, and that's the game. Which is why it is going to appear in my top 10, because I feel like I'm making an accurate appraisal of Mario.
Sure. I won't fault you
Rabbids. I don't need to hit credits for it to appear on a top 10 list.
Right.
Over on this side of the table, the criteria is lower.
And that's not a problem. I will say, I think in the spooky world, have you been to the spooky world?
Bailey was the only person to have played a spooky level.
Okay.
I was cooking, and I said, get through this cutscene for me, because I can't care less about these rabid portmanteaus.
Yes.
You're walking through the open world, and you see a white-looking rabbit, because the Rabbids are, what is their brand? It's more than just fart jokes It expands to include like baby's first curse words and slapstick.
Lots of slapstick.
Lots of slapstick. And so you'll happen upon one, and it'll be two rabbit, like a rabbit whose like head is stuck between two pipes, like you would a banister if you were a baby.
Sure.
Like in the staircase. And like that's fun. But I'm well into World 2. You just breeze past those. I don't need Beepo to explain what pun they're using.
Right.
Boogers are very much in line with the Rabbids.
Yeah, part of the canon.
Yeah. No, I'm there just for the tactical espionage action.
As am I. How do you feel about how movement options are emphasized?
Oh, the freebie that is the dash action?
Oh, yeah, the dash. Do you have team jumping abilities?
Yeah, Mario can squish them.
And all the options with hopping into pipes and getting warped around the battlefield. For
the get to the finish line levels on occasion.
Yes.
Those are great.
Where if your point of reference for this style of game is XCOM, I feel like movement in the Mario and Rabbids series is far more dynamic. It's a cool little twist on what gets emphasized.
Yeah, the XCOM games, you really just want to inch your way and be in full cover at all times if you have a prayer of getting the successful ending. Mario plus Rabbids, it's much more clear. This enemy is in Overwatch. Overwatch meaning it'll fire upon you if you move. So you got it's a lot more accessible for baby's first 4X strategy, whatever this genre is.
Yeah.
It's XCOM.
I enjoy how they streamline hit percentages. It's either you're gonna 0%, 100%, 50%.
Yeah. Although, man, you still feel like sometimes you get the short end of the stick when none of your shots connect, but the Ziggies are just raining down on you. So I'm still flying through it.
Sure.
It's got to be like an 8-hour game.
It's way more than 8 hours, I think.
Dang, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
The only thing I wish is if I don't really use the Tacticam.
Okay.
Where you hover your cursor over
I would
things.
make use of it sometimes.
Yeah, but
to see enemy movement range, make sure I stay right out of their range.
I wish I knew when I was gearing up for the battle, at a glance, which of my team has a weapon that's super effective against that enemy type.
Yeah.
I gotta like shuffle through the weapons themselves.
Yep. That's a little bit of micromanaging that is tedious.
I'm trying to beat it like as fast as I can. I was trying to beat it as fast as I could for the top 10 list.
Sure.
And possibly if I weren't so good at video games, I might not have gotten as far as I did. But no, it's fun.
Yeah. It was a very pleasant surprise when I played it.
It has the same amount of fun as like a Super Hot, I imagine.
Okay. They seem like very different games.
I don't know.
What's your party composition look like? Who do you like to bring into battle?
You know what? I thought I recalled somebody saying that Rabid Peach is the way to go, but that hasn't been the case for me.
Ooh.
Nah.
Because I agree with that statement.
But
you're contrarian.
Because you're healing everybody or
yeah,
something?
the healing is so much utility.
I just try to just blast everybody without the need. I'm a DPS guy. I'm not a medic. I mean, now that I have Rabbid Mario, I'm kind of just leaning heavily on that.
He's a close range brawler?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, Luigi's long distance, which is so helpful during the get to the finish line levels.
Yes.
Despite what I said about not stopping to smell the poop roses, I am still doing all of the blue launcher coin mini games, the little slide the block puzzles to get a collectible.
Yeah.
Even though I will never tune into the music museum portion of this game.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. You can look at the 3D models and stuff.
Right.
Bailey walks in on me playing and is just like so off put by the tone. But I am still doing the collectibles thing. I don't know. I think the completionist in me doesn't want to walk past them and think like I got to come back. I know there's little like statues or gargoyles or as soon as I unlock probably Donkey Kong or something, I'll be able to smash him or something. But yeah, that's I've already talked at length about. I mean, the Rabbids. We got the top 10 list at the end of this episode, so we'll leave it there. But
Right.
But good gift, Chris. I'm having fun.
Did you like in the email body? I was like, here's another game you can hide from your significant other on your Switch.
Dude, because she was like, as soon as she came down the steps, I was like, good thing a cutscene is soon to play. I think Nintendo polish is somehow less embarrassing than XCOM gameplay.
I see. And, hats off to Ubisoft because they developed it and it exhibits Nintendo polish, doesn't it?
It does. You know what she was doing? I was cooking, right? So she was walking around the Peach Castle base camp HQ. She goes into the collectibles viewing washing machine or whatever, and she says, tarot cards.
Ooh.
And I go, which is just a collectible. And I go, yeah, this game is French. So it's like tarot cards. I don't know how the French would pronounce it.
Probably tarot.
Yeah, but they'd be like, tarot.
Oh, probably.
With a
there's one funny comment. I don't know where I heard this, but someone theorized that this might be the only Mario game when you're walking around like the overworld where Mario can't jump.
True.
Although I suppose he can jump in the battles, right? If he gets a leg up from a teammate.
Yeah.
Have you unlocked the ability for Mario to stomp in battle?
No, just jump.
Okay. That adds
considerable gameplay depth.
When you have to juggle, to min-max each move to work in your 2 to 3 dashes you can do.
Yes.
The team jump, the stomp, where
always
you end up in cover.
The wish for an undo button if you bypass a pivotal dash.
Yeah.
Because you didn't see that enemy over there. Because you're not using the Tacticam because you're just trying to any percent speed run this game. Dude, are we going to talk about Sparks of Hope?
So let's transition. I've been playing Sparks of Hope.
Oh, no!
Yeah, I'm playing Mario and Rabbids, the sequel.
We blasted look at those that white. It's gonna sound
We'll fix it in post.
You can't fix that. You've been playing Sparks of Hope?
I was playing it this morning.
No, dude. I thought it hadn't come out yet.
No, it's out. That was the impetus for gifting this to you for the context synergy.
Oh God. Well, hold on. Do they must shrink the roster back down to just 3, right?
So, let's dive in to the sequel, Mario & Rabbids Sparks of Hope. It's very much the same style, made by Ubisoft on the Nintendo Switch. Came out this year. I haven't finished it. I'm kind of like you. I've finished the first 2 worlds, so I'm a decent chunk into it.
Amazing. Is this on your top 10 list?
No.
I wouldn't put
eligible
it past,
for next year.
And it won't be on next year's?
Probably not. Well, we'll see. Because I like these games.
Yeah, they're quaint.
What do you mean by that?
Quaint. They're inoffensive.
Oh, okay. I mean, some of the Rabbids are
picturesque,
kind of offensive.
Yeah. You have to walk between the legs of the Pharaoh statue that looks like it's pissing, but it's just holding a jug.
I see. Yeah, that kind of
Classy.
potty humor. Let's compare and contrast them.
Yeah.
So in all the discourse I've heard about the sequel, people are saying, "Oh man, it's such a big step up. What an upgrade. What an improvement. They've really." Ubisoft has outdone themselves. And I'm hopping into this sequel.
They add Devil Trigger?
From what I've played of the sequel so far, I'm like, it's much more of a side grade. I definitely recommend it to fans of the first, but in some ways, I think I might prefer the first game, actually.
Really?
I have copious notes here. The listeners...
More than anyone has ever thought about Mario plus Rabbids.
I wanted to really reflect and pick apart what I liked more, what I didn't like more. So the most immediate change people bring up and notice
the UI
is that the game is no longer grid-based. It's
right.
You have radial movement. And you'd think that would be the biggest change. The whole fundamental interacting with the combat system is different now. And so far, I found it to be a very innocuous change. It feels the same. All the same tactical decisions you would make in the movement before are still present in this one.
get to cover.
It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yeah.
I like the grid. I like the radial movement. It's not really that different. So that was a surprise. I thought that would really shake things up, but it didn't. So no, that's a neutral point. First big positive, though, you start off with a much larger cast from minute one.
Whoa, they don't Batman Arkham take away your gadgets.
Luigi, Rabbid Mario, Peach, they're all there from the jump.
Nicely put, from the jump.
From the jump.
That's nice, because it's Mario.
And just further adding to the team flexibility, correct me if I'm wrong, in the first game, is Mario mandatory?
You can't deselect him. He is the leader.
Right.
Because Shigeru refused to let you play with an all-Rabid freak fest.
Right. But 5 years later, Shigeru Miyamoto, he's eased off. You can swap Mario out of the party now.
He's too busy trying to coach Chris Pratt on The Voice.
Right. So not only is the roster larger from the jump, it's more flexible. You can have any 3 members join you. So that's big plus for me.
Yep. The plus is literally bigger between Mario plus Rabbids. Stupid.
Moving on to, this one's a double-edged sword. So in the first game, this is all going off of memory.
Yeah.
There are like specific challenge areas, right, that aren't necessary for beating the main plot. It's like side content you can go do if you want.
That's only accessible from the washing machine.
Yeah. You have to like back out of the main campaign.
Or I imagine if I backtrack to previous worlds.
Right.
Yeah, I could find them.
In the sequel, all the side quests and side content, it's more naturally integrated into the game. You find quest givers that track your quests in a menu, and you get rewards for fulfilling them. So I like that things are a little more integrated cohesively like that. The double-edged sword, though, is that I think when I played the first game, I just ignored the challenge levels. Yeah. But in this one, I feel more compelled to do them since they're kind of more in your face. And they're, by and large, not as good. And that's the double-edged sword part of it. Some of it feels like filler. There will be enemies just walking around the main open world that you can like choose to engage. And if you dash into them, you start a battle. But some of these battles feel like
just grinding.
Yeah, since the enemies respawn, the battles are recycled. It feels like tweak a couple variables, where the first game was far more linear. You went from handcrafted encounter directly to handcrafted encounter.
Yeah.
And by and large, I felt like that increased the average quality of every battle in the first game. Where this one, the sequel is not all killer, it has filler. Yeah. So that's a point of concern I have. And now I have the straight up negative things that I think the first game did better. First game, I think it has the better economy. All those coins you're picking up, you go to the shop and like get cooler weapons, right? Yep. And money is... You're not overflowing with money. No. You're frequently run out. Right. You have to choose like, hey, do I save up and skip this tier upgrade gun and go jump directly to the one above it? Is that a decision you're faced with? I want to give Luigi a better sniper, but because I have to put Mario on the team every time, I gotta max him out. Yeah, prioritize Mario. Yeah. And then you have certain party members who are kind of like falling behind because you haven't... Peach, yeah. Yeah, you haven't bought an upgrade for them in a long time. Rabid Luigi hasn't seen the light of day in years. Yeah. That economic tension is gone in the sequel. Oh, you're flush with coins? Coins are only used for healing your party. Oh, it's like Mario Kart. You don't buy new weapons in this one. All you get are your skill tree buffs when you level up. I just auto-complete those. They introduced new currencies, so there are star bits from like Super Mario Galaxy, and you use those to level up your sparks. Let's talk about sparks, because they added... How hopeful are they? They add like environmental effects to your characters. You can equip sparks to certain party members. Yeah. And you have a whole collection of sparks. Like you said, when you first boot up a new battle and you do the little pan over to see who you're fighting, you want to equip the right sparks to the right people, and it just adds a lot of micromanagement. That means when I load up a battle, I'm looking at about 90 seconds of tweaking settings before I actually start the encounter. Right. And you want to be able to know at an instant this battle calls for Rabid Wario
Sorry, I'm trying to pick the most off-color characters.
Sure.
Ezio. I just jumped to Ubisoft.
That'd be funny if there was an Ezio cameo.
They should Rabbids should have more than one character.
Right. Last couple things. Oh, the difficulty sweet spot isn't there for me this game.
Oof.
Now in the first one, I think they start you on a default difficulty setting, and you have the option to switch it to easy mode.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. This one has a more standard easy, normal, hard, and I had to immediately crank it up to hard because I was just brain dead winning these battles.
Yeah.
And even on hard, I'm not taxed in the way I remember being taxed in a good way in the first game. It's just been kind of a breeze, and that's a shame.
Dang. More like sparks of nope.
A lot of little annoyances adding up. Oh, the worst offense is that Beepo has a voice actor now.
Oh.
And I do not care for it.
Oh, that is bad.
Yeah, Beepo, he was great in the first game because he just makes like little chirps
little
and beeps and
Undertale.
boops.
Yep.
But now he's got full voice cast, and that was not necessary.
It's also Chris Pratt.
I wish it was. And also they introduce an OG Rabbids character, and she's edgy. She's so edgy. Her name is Edge.
Oh wow!
Yeah, dude.
This is poor.
This is poor. But her abilities are fire, so it's okay.
Okay. Might literally be fire. I don't know.
No, she her name is Edge, and she uses a sword.
Oh, hidden blade works.
Yeah. That's really all I had to say about Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope.
Well, thank you for not making me jump to the sequel
Yeah.
to share in your damage.
I'm shocked how positive people have been on this game, considering I think the first game surpasses it in many ways. In the first game, you haven't gotten here yet, but when you get to the opera singer fight,
Oh, I've heard. Well,
that is a highlight, and nothing in the sequel comes even close to that so far.
I've heard of this.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Maybe I'm misremembering some Nier Automata stuff, but
the great opera scene.
isn't there like a chef too?
I don't recall the chef,
Okay.
but yeah, that was Mario and Rabbids hour.
All right.
When I played it the first time, it predated the podcast, so we needed to bring it back.
That was due.
Yes. Very cool. Heath, you've been playing other stuff.
Yeah, I played Immortality.
Oh, yeah. So this is where tensions rise,
We're
right?
doing this now?
When would be the best time to do it? I also have one more game I've been playing.
You should do that first.
Okay. Here's another one where tensions rise.
Immortality is going to be a huge
Okay.
chunk.
We'll save it. Well, that'll be the climax.
Yeah.
Well, here's the rising action. I played a lot of Vampire Survivors.
Yay! Friggin' that'll show up on the bottom right in the Steam notifications, and I'll go,
You raise your eyebrow. Yeah, dude.
Jacob's done it again.
I
Talk about economy.
like Vampire Survivors. Here's the thing, though, Heath.
Yay!
Okay, so for the uninformed, this was
It's nothing like you've ever played.
It's spent most of the year in early access this year. It's now officially out.
Right.
Made by a single individual. It is a pixelated arcade throwback game.
Bullet hell.
Taking inspiration from twin stick shooters and bullet hell dodging projectiles. The thing is, though, it's a single stick, not even shooter. So this game is
It all orbits you?
this is a super low impact game.
Yeah.
You play it with a single hand. Nay, you play it with just your thumb. That's all you need. You are a character on a top-down view. You're a vampire survivor, I suppose. And all these ghouls and goblins are coming from 360 degrees around you, walking towards you, trying to touch and kill you. All you have to do is bob and weave, and you have some weapons, and they automatically fire. You don't need to aim. You don't need to shoot. All you do is dodge adversaries.
Yeah.
Single thumb.
And line up your shots.
And then you ride the power curve. you ride big numbers going up, and it feels indecently good.
Right.
So
that's everybody's takeaway.
Yeah.
This is gambling.
It hijacks your dopamine centers. I don't know what.
Really?
Here's the thing. I'm enjoying my time with Vampire Survivors. If you wanted to find a game to like make a case study example of, hey, maybe video games aren't art after all. Maybe they're just hijacking a reward center, and that's why we find them satisfying.
Yeah.
Vampire Survivors could be your case study. I don't know if there's much that's artistically compelling about this game at all, but the progression curve is so tightly designed that each 30-minute run just blinks.
30 minutes?
At most.
Okay.
If you hit 30 minutes, the game ends.
It's like you get an award.
You can fail prematurely, though.
Oh.
I suppose it's a roguelike because you're always
Yes.
starting from square one. Your character, over the course of maybe 30 minutes at most, your character will level up 80, 90, 100 times.
Yep. Yeah.
And at every level up screen, you're greeted with a choice of 3 random power-ups. And then you're custom tailoring your build.
Yep.
You acquire a collection of active attacks and passive buffs.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have at most 6 weapons and 6 passives.
Great.
So there is some opportunity cost. If you quickly choose 6 weapons, you know you're never going to get another weapon.
Oh, never ever?
Never ever. So you're trying to pick weapons that synergize with each other.
Oh, wow.
The game doesn't really hold your hand. I'm going to talk light mechanical spoilers for Vampire Survivors. If you want to go in cold, I guess skip ahead to the Immortality debate.
Yeah.
But you unlock a recipe book, the Grimoire, and you learn that certain passives paired with certain weapons can create super combinations.
Right.
And there's like advanced evolutions. If you fully upgrade a weapon and you have the right passive, and then you beat a boss and open a chest, you'll get the evolution, which is like you start shredding enemies once the weapon has evolved. You could potentially evolve all 6 of the weapons you're holding, and then you stand a great chance of...
And you could actually put the controller down.
Legitimately. Actually, though.
This just balloons tower defense, yeah.
And then you walk this journey of a ridiculous power curve every play session, and the enemy density scales with it. The end of a run of Vampire Survivors looks like a parody of video games.
Right.
And yeah, the game is described as, I think the tagline for Vampire Survivors is become the bullet hell.
Yep.
Because by the end, you are just spewing death. On screen at any given time, there are probably 1,000 enemies. And,
I believe it, yep.
And your kill count by the end of a successful run numbers in approaching the hundreds of thousands of,
Sure.
And yeah, every sound effect has been specifically custom tailored to elicit the most satisfying response. Like you scoop up, when enemies perish, they drop gems. And as you hoover up all these gems, you level up. You're just gobbling up the gems by the mouthful.
It just sounds like a casino.
Every chest you open has the most joyous music that plays in the animation.
Da-da-da.
You're hoping that every chest will at least give you 1 upgrade, but there's a chance you get maybe 3 or maybe 5. And that's the casino. You're just crossing your fingers.
This game is free?
It is free on mobile.
Okay.
Which seems dangerous to have it in your pocket.
Yeah.
Full price on Steam, it's $5.
Yeah.
And this is a game that increased in price. Earlier this year, full price was $3.
Darn.
But so much content has been added to it. I respect that the creator felt it was justified to increase the price, actually.
Wow.
I think the only other game I can remember that increased its price over time was Shovel Knight. It received so much free content that as the years went by, Yacht Club Games said, we actually think the game should cost more now.
This is excluding like
sales,
vintage games that just get
because of scarcity,
like the ET game.
Right. I'm talking about digitally distributed games that the price has gone up. Yep. So Vampire Survivors, I had early on before I built up my tolerance to the hit that is Vampire Survivors, I finished a particularly good run and I had to go lie down on my bed because I felt my brain buzzing.
What?
It was like I was on something. I was just so stimulated. Yeah. Oh, the single individual who developed this game used to write software for slot machines.
Yeah.
That's not even a joke.
Huge not surprise.
He knows what he's doing.
He built games that turned you into a vampire and made you not want to go see the light of day.
And so this could be a case where I maybe condemn this man, except he charges $5 for his game and there is no further monetization.
He's like a dark Lucas Pope.
Yeah, he's
Lucas Devil.
He's like, I use my powers for good. So that's Vampire Survivors. I just
wish it didn't look like it looked.
You quickly become habituated to it. Because it does look like garbage. But then you realize
it's out of necessity.
Because of the number of entities on screen, it's probably out of necessity.
Yeah.
Oh.
What?
I don't know what
sparks
happened.
of hope in your eye just now.
It's just this peak irony that this janky looking arcade game that I am playing on my RTX 4090 caused my PC to blue screen of death.
What?
It hard crashed one time.
Just from like
I don't know
DDoS?
What happened, but there was too much nonsense going on screen, I think. And I got one blue screen of death in the 15 hours
That's got to be
played
software side.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, that was very funny to me. And that's Vampire Survivors.
Good.
I didn't expect to get hooked so thoroughly. And I'm now at the point where there's just constant new unlocks and stuff. It's starting to get weird. Like, it plays it straight for a long time, but now I'm wondering if there's like extra layers I don't know about.
You'll have to elaborate.
Like maybe this game is Immortality-esque.
Oh God!
It hints at things.
It's a good transition if there ever was one.
Okay, so that's Vampire Survivors.
Did you deliberately not gift me Vampire Survivors for Christmas because you knew I would be so overwhelmed with dopamine I wouldn't want to record the episode? I would just stay in my apartment.
It was for the longevity of this podcast.
Right. Yeah.
Now, do you mind if I
go
take
pee.
Take a drink?
Take a hike.
When we come back, it's Immortality time.
Yeah.
See you then.
Are you ready for the Heath dunking hour?
Yeah, I suppose as ready as I can be.
So, okay. I played 3 more games, right? So, I played Overboard, which is the murder. It's not a mystery because you're the one that killed him.
Yes.
Get off of this cruise ship to escape murder. It's got a very simple art style of cartoony silhouettes.
Is there any kind of a time loop involved?
Not a loop, but you have until they get to the shoreline to dispose of the evidence and create alibis and such.
Okay.
So, and then you just restart.
It's a trial and error.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. You keep playing until you get a good ending.
I see.
Yeah. Bailey played it. On her first playthrough, she went to go look for her missing earring, ran into the car family, told them that she fell ill, then went back up to the captain's quarters, and navigating between each room costs time.
Ooh,
which
like
is great.
that.
Yeah. Opportunity cost. She goes down to the chapel in the stern of the boat and goes forgive me, Father, I have sinned. Heavenly Mother, something heaven. It's got a fun sense of humor. And then God responds back and said I can't help you here. You know what you did, because she killed her husband, right?
I see.
It's very Carmen Sandiego. You are the femme fatale. Bailey, on her first playthrough, goes up to the captain's quarters, who's piloting the ship, and she goes, "Oh, I realize it's got a perfect point of view of where I was when I pushed him overboard."
Oh,
hey, Captain, how you? And he's like, "Hey, it was a fogless night last night. And she's like, oh, no way. I bet you can see the stars really good. And she goes, hey, what's that behind you? And he goes, it's the master key. She's like, can I have it? And he goes, no, I use it when I do my patrol of the vessel. Maybe I could swing by your room. And Bailey goes, sounds good. And she goes back to the room because there's not a heck of a lot of time to go explore elsewhere. Every dialogue answer, much like Disco Elysium, everything advances time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. She goes back to her room. The captain shows up. They have a steamy encounter.
Oh.
Yeah. He goes in the bathroom to wash up. He's whistling while he's shaving or whatever. I don't know. You wouldn't necessarily shave in that moment.
Probably not.
The key is on the credenza.
Okay.
Bailey goes to grab it, and she's got to hide it somewhere. So she hides it under her pillow, and he intuits that that's where she hid it, and he reaches, and he's like, trying to make me stay longer, and she's like, rats. And then he goes back to the captain's quarters, and I won't spoil like the rest of it. She goes and interacts with more characters. I just found that it was funny that her first plan of action was to sleep with the captain.
Sure.
Maybe to create an alibi. There might be like a successful way to do that and like bribe him. I don't know. That we played it sufficiently that it's gonna show up in the top 10 list. But I don't think it's exactly worth the price of entry.
I see.
It's very simple. You had it on a wish list at one point.
It's still wish listed. Yeah.
And you know what? If it were a little more meaty, I would say it's worth it.
Do you get the sense that there is one solution?
No, there's multiple.
Multiple. Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I like the time as a resource mechanic.
Yeah.
It sounds like a fairly short game. Like this is the one scenario, right?
Yep.
If you get off the cruise ship without being detected, you win the game.
No, dude, you're at sea. You are at sea.
Yeah.
So you have to like. There's no getting off of it undetected.
I mean, without being arrested.
Without like
for murder.
hiding in a barrel.
I didn't mean literally not detected. I mean get away with murder.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, once you dock.
And then the police are like, your husband was on this voyage. He's on the manifest and he's not here. What happened? Blah blah blah. You're free to go if you did everything right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
so
Overboard.
Didn't blow you away.
Didn't blow me away.
You managed to stay on board. Didn't get blown overboard.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. So it was cute, you know?
Yep.
The kind of game that you'd play at Nerdvana.
Okay.
What does that mean? Okay, and then I also played Echoes of the Eye.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, you forgot, yep.
Because when you sent me a message saying I'm in hell, dude, I was mid trying to find the Staten Island ferry.
Sorry, I thought that was a euphemism for a second.
No.
But you were literally trying to find it.
I was trying to find it.
So, Outer Wilds DLC sequel.
Yep.
No spoilers.
All right, no spoilers.
Until the top 10. No, that would taint the top 10.
Yeah, that would become dangerous
We'll do
content.
a spoiler top 10 of each of the games.
Hey listeners, this is Chris editing the podcast. I just wanted to make it crystal clear that the following discussion is chock full of spoilers for both Outer Wilds and Echoes of the Eye, so listen at your own discretion.
I can't believe that I flew all the way out to that satellite and just wasn't at the right angle.
Oh.
On my first venture.
So
it might have even been like 30 degrees.
Really?
And not 49? Who knows?
What's the structure called? The Voyager? No.
The Stranger.
The Stranger. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you finish this DLC?
I got as far as I could before the horror elements just made it prohibitive.
I see.
The best part of Outer Wilds is what? It's going to the quantum moon, right?
That's my favorite part.
And no, sorry. going to the Quantum Moon and visiting the 6th location and talking to the buddy.
Okay.
Because just landing on the Quantum Moon is like...
Pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
There's more to do.
But if you successfully solve the mystery is what I'll say.
Yes.
That is the highlight of Outer Wilds.
In agreement.
The highlight of Echoes of the Eye is learning that it is a simulation.
Well, there is a simulation, a simulated world you can access, in addition to the real world you're in. The part of this DLC that I loved, in addition to the fact that it takes place on a halo, which is really cool.
It's a Dyson disc. It's a Dyson sphere, but it's a disc.
Yeah. I liked once you figure out how to enter the simulated reality, it recontextualizes all the different parts of the stranger you visited. You want to double back to everywhere on the stranger and re-enter the simulation there and see how things have changed.
Right, because the dreams are physically connected.
Yeah.
Via those little rafts. And initially you think dream fire touches water, you wake up. Because it's the extinguishing of the flame, and this is just like a magic. This is magic. It's magic, right?
Yeah.
Until you get to there's 3, much in the way in Outer Wilds, there's like 3 tokens of quantum knowledge required to get to the special place.
Yes.
There's 3 tokens of knowledge in Echoes of the Eye in order to get you to the special place.
To unlock
the vault, yeah.
Yep.
The first one I did organically, did not look up cheats.
Okay.
I did cheat again.
Okay.
The owl guys.
Yeah.
They're having a big party.
I love that section.
They're having a big old Inception party.
Spooky owl party in a forest lodge.
They're blasting their owl mixtapes.
And it's eerie.
And all you gotta do is avoid the night watchman. So you follow also, buddy. Mobius Digital, give me a brightness feature.
Oh,
okay. No, it's okay. We're gonna finish narrative and then we're gonna talk about user experience hell.
Sure.
Owls jamming. They're doing their owl dances. You follow them into the lodge and they're all there. And me and my dumb ass am like, I'm gonna make a break for it. And then they grab you.
Yeah.
And I didn't make the connection that you gotta wait until the dam busts, extinguishing all of their flames, killing their spirits.
Yep.
Because until those fires go out, they are as immortal as Marissa Marcel. Nice. And so that was the first one I did. And then you descend down the Dark Souls elevator and get to the special place, the first special place, where you realize that some of these owls are basically game devs.
Oh.
And you realize that if you jump off the raft in between dream pockets, you land in the BIOS.
Right. Okay. You just unlocked that memory for me.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah. So that was the first one I did. I didn't cheat there. Because you only really need to find that secret tunnel and then wait until they all die. And so I was like, hats off to Outer Wilds, Mobius Digital, for coming up with a puzzle that I don't need to like bash my head against this awful horror game stealth encounter.
I really grated on you.
Reduced frights all the way. If you're still listening to this and feel like Outer Wilds Echoes of the Eye is worth playing, reduced frights from the get-go.
I had no issue with it.
You are the best gamer alive.
I mean, they caught me a whole bunch, but I mean, they're big owls.
Yeah, and they're faster than you. Sorry, wait. Chris, I Love Games Elman.
Yeah.
You're telling me in the other one where you have to blow out their 5-star hotel and they go, oh, and then you try to get back in there after you blew it out and they're on the lookout. They're trying to find you. You're telling me that took you less than 40 minutes?
Probably.
Of just like, I can only see within a 10-foot radius thanks to my flame. And if I do the spotlight feature, I immediately get aggroed. Chris,
it was fine.
I am baffled. This is almost like, what's a gameplay feature that you found intolerable?
Beepo's voice actor.
Yeah, this is, no. I'm amazed that you are. Oh, maybe I'll just add and edit. I'll think of a great example of a game that you've played that you're like it was unplayable in its existing state.
I disagree.
Unless you have a photographic memory of the level geometry and you're able to, in the dark, are you like rapid eye movement following your memory palace to get to the secret staircase?
Possibly.
Because I had to watch a Let's Play of somebody playing on reduced frights.
Okay.
Chris, you know what you're doing? You're like, I don't know what the big deal is. I beat Bloody Palace on my first go. Like, you're trolling me.
It wasn't my first. I definitely failed a couple times, but that's par for the course.
This is, oh my gosh, you must be able to beat Amnesia backwards. Okay. We didn't even talk about the light mechanics.
No.
Because the deepest, dankest part of this game is just so noteworthy. And that's really just a feather in the cap of Mobius Digital. Did you like how the codes were burned, but even then they were like scrubbed from like it's like glitching out.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's amazing because you then have to brute force your way through hacks.
Yeah.
Amazing. If at first you don't succeed, do what you haven't thought of is the total ethos of Mobius Digital. Amazing.
Yeah. I can't wait to see what they're working on next.
Anything they touch is gold.
So far, for sure. Surely their next thing will be a new game, right?
I've never been more certain of a Kickstarter deserved company.
That you would back them.
Yeah.
Multiple times. You'd
Easily.
buy 10 copies.
I mean, I would also back anything that has Manon Gage in it now, but...
Oh, okay.
But
good.
That's neither here nor there.
Should that be our transition?
It should.
All right, let me drink some water.
Take like 2 breaks.
Okay, Heath, lay it on me.
So, outer Immortality. Okay, you didn't play Telling Lies. You played Her Story.
That's right.
I don't know if this is the best game that they've made.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait, are you about to stand up for Telling Lies right now?
I think Telling Lies also bothers me because of just the minutes of dead air that you can't fast forward through.
Sure.
But I would eschew, you know how Nier Automata you can sacrifice accessibility features to get more powerful?
Yes.
I would drop every user experience. I would lose every fast forward quality of life feature imaginable just to have a good fiction.
Which game are we talking about?
Immortality.
Okay.
So let's do the highlights of Immortality.
Sam Barlow's latest game.
So oh no, wait, here's my second. I wrote 2 starts to this conversation. My other one was I fell asleep during Her Story.
Yes.
I fell asleep during Telling Lies.
Yes.
I was not around for the credits of Immortality. Bailey had to tell me about it at 4:40 in the morning.
Where were you?
I was in bed.
Oh, okay.
So 1 time is a coincidence. 2 times is noteworthy. 3 times is a pattern.
Well, the 3rd time just sounds like Bailey was playing it in the dead of night and any sane person would have been asleep.
Yes.
So that's not the game's fault.
That's the game's fault, is my argument.
That she decided to be playing it at 4 a.m.?
No, that the game jumps the shark so hard that it didn't excite me enough to keep me awake.
There's nothing on planet Earth that would keep me up until 4 a.m.
Not even Vampire Survivors?
Not even lines of cocaine.
Dang. Well, fine then.
But that's just because I like to sleep.
Even if this were at 10:30 in the morning,
okay,
when Chris is most awake.
Yeah.
No, I think that I had buyer's remorse.
Wow.
Yeah, get f***ed.
Wow, I'm taking damage right now.
Yeah. And I was like, there's got to be something that I'm missing. And I watched the Jacob Geller thing, and I don't even like Jacob Geller. I listened to Fear of Depths. I listened to Fear of Being a Minor. I think he's a little too fartsy for me.
He's too mid.
You know who's better than Jacob Geller? Bobby Broccoli.
Bobby Broccoli.
Bobby Broccoli is like the physics John Boyce. My favorite video of his is they're all based on physics, right? Because he's like a grad student or something. He most recently did a story about a guy that tried to fake an element on the periodic table.
That's fun.
Is just over an hour, and it's way good. And you might also be familiar with the time that he talked about America's attempts to build a super collider and how it failed.
Okay.
The presentation's amazing. His writing skills are amazing. I watched Jacob Geller, and I think I just want to watch another one of these guys. So
All right,
I have
I
have a roster of video essayists that I
prefer,
and Jacob is in the concession stand. So Immortality, the good things. Okay. Okay.
Hey listeners, once again, this is Chris coming to you from the editing booth. Please be warned that the following conversation contains spoilers for Immortality, Undertale, Inscription, Doki Doki Literature Club, Men in Black, Until Dawn, the Mass Effect Trilogy, and 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. Sorry that this conversation is such a spoiler minefield. Please proceed at your own risk.
My favorite parts of Immortality are uncovering the real life drama involving these films.
Yeah.
Was who's the Chad that dies in Minsky?
Goodman?
Yeah, Chris Goodman.
His
maybe
name's not.
Chad.
Look it up.
Carl.
Carl Goodman.
It's Carl. Yep.
Yep.
By the way, we got 77% of the achievements.
Nice.
I liked finding out that he was gay.
Yes. He and John Durek had something going on.
Yeah.
So we're already in spoilers. I'll mark this spoiler section.
I mean, yeah. Well, you said for sake of time, we gotta crunch.
Yeah, let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay. At what point in your Immortality journey did you uncover...
Did I go, what the
Well, I mean, there's so many things you could say that about.
Yeah.
When did the weird stuff start coming in for you?
It was... The first weird stuff was during Durek's interview on late night television, where he gets head swapped.
Okay. And then the interview itself changes, right?
No, it's the same dialogue.
With the one.
With a different actress, yep.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
I was like, oh, Marissa looks old in this scene. me thinking that things made sense.
And you've triggered that by rewinding, right?
Oh my God. You want to talk about the controls?
Sure.
So Chris, I beat Echoes of the Eye, no problem, hand behind my back, Almond, is somehow able... You played on keyboard and mouse.
No.
No?
Far superior to use controller.
How the fuck do you trigger these secret scenes?
What?
It's so difficult. Bailey and I would spend like upwards of 3 minutes like scrubbing through the same frames, trying to get it to reverse at the right speed to trigger the secret scene. This game tested our patience like the Stanley Parable baby ending.
So it's the left and right triggers, fast forward and rewind, right?
No, it's the analog stick.
Oh, yep, you're right. Or I think maybe both.
Uh-huh.
I think you could use triggers or stick
You press
left
A to
and right.
play, yeah.
So most of the hidden scenes you need to rewind, fast forward. What did trip me up that I had to look up was some require you to frame by frame rewind, which is where the D-pad comes in.
Huh.
So if I heard the audio cue that told me something funky was going on,
and you're vibrating,
and my controller vibrated, I'd try to do regular rewind, and if that didn't work, I'd frame by frame rewind, and then that would work.
All right, it sounds like if the three of us played together, we'd be passing you the controller every 12 or so minutes.
Okay.
Because that was the frequent... It never got intuitive.
Wow. No, it became second nature.
We would hover... We'd be seeing the double exposure of the following scene and be like, I guess we're going to see some more tits. And then we would just... it would just be like that until either of us... We'd pass it back and forth, and then we'd see the scene, and it'd be a weird scene that I didn't even like, and I would want to just go back and look at Manon.
When I was in cleanup mode, I would boot up every clip, put it as quick fast forward as possible, zoom through, hear the faintest audio cue,
yep,
pause, rewind, it would be flawless. seamless.
I'll believe it when I see it.
It was totally fine.
It was inscrutable what we were supposed to be doing.
It's just rewind.
I
don't know what to say.
I dare you.
I agree that the fact that there's two different ways to rewind and certain clips require one and certain clips require the other, that was the gotcha. But once I knew that, it was smooth sailing. It sounds like your criticisms of the game go deeper than the controls, though.
Yes.
Should we dwell on some of the positive aspects for a while, or are we done with those?
Man Engage, I want to see what Real Live Girl is. Her next project.
Okay.
Twitch streamer horror type of project.
Yep.
No, the highlights are watching all the scenes and learning that like such and such can't swim and such is not who they appear to be. And you should sorry, I'm so overboard. Nice. You got to steer the conversation for the positives.
Yep, Man Engage's performance as Marissa Marcel is a highlight. Not only is she the protagonist of 3 films, but also in It Takes Two of Everything. Sorry, It Takes Two of Everything. No,
nice.
It's just 2 of everything. They pull the Her Story trick again. She's 2 characters at the same time.
Yeah,
who are the doppelganger of the pop star,
Maria and Heather.
Right. So you have to untangle that mystery when you're watching that film. She's also just the actress in lore, and she's also the one.
What?
Yeah, Marissa Marcel is the one.
That was No, it's a different actress.
Yeah, there's literally a different actress, but over the entire duration of time, except maybe the soap commercial we see in black and white, she has been inhabited by the one.
Well, no, she was inhabited during the soap as well.
You're right, she is, because we see the real Marissa Marcel bleeding out in a field.
I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah, the one ate her. She was a kid.
The World War II?
That may have come after. She was French.
Right.
Just in a French field, big chunk taken out of her.
Uh-huh.
So that's fun.
You're sick. Buddy, I was on board for that interview head swap. Dude, we can talk about video games and how they're a transformative medium, but I thought they were aliens.
Okay.
It's plain as day that if this were like a book or adapted for the stage, I would have walked out well before I saw some freakazoids kissy.
I don't know how you possibly adapt it, though, because the hidden scenes need to be found. Otherwise, they lose their impact.
True. No, this was... I thought I was sold a false bill of goods. I signed up for murder mystery, and I ended up with science fiction or like fantasy.
Well, you could argue the case that, hey, the 3 films exist in their entirety. You can discover what happens in the films. I think I would still enjoy Immortality if you took all the other stuff, ripped it right out, and it was just the films. I would enjoy that. But the hidden meta stuff just brought it to the next level for me.
The hidden meta stuff, I didn't see it as a value add. I feel like it made sense in theory, but just the damage that it caused to the player, like friggin' Undertale closing the program when you lose to the boss is great. Inscription, reading my file directory is great. This game making me hang on this is coming secondhand. Bailey telling me that upon seeing enough secret stains, the one just stares at you into the camera, looking at the player for like a minute silent, and then finally is like, I'm a part of you now, is high on your own supply, artsy fartsy. Get out of your ass, Sam Barlow. That's his name?
Yep.
No, I think he was closer to the mark with Her Story.
Maybe you just need to be the type of person who likes Jacob Geller videos to get it.
I turned to Bailey during Ambrosio stabbing the one, and then the knife comes back at him in turn, and she stares at you, and I turn to Bailey and I go, I don't think I'm old enough to play this game. Immortality, it had such high hopes, and no amount of mass media commentary, women's rights, truth, anachronism, timeline, asynchronicity is gonna save a goofy sci-fi plot. That's too big a pill to swallow.
What, immortal vampires are goofy to you? This is serious stuff, Heath.
Buddy, it's bordering on David Cage goofiness. Have you ever seen Men in Black?
Yeah.
What is Men in Black?
It's, secret society.
It's a sci-fi movie starring Will Smith where he's protecting the Earth versus extraterrestrial threats. Do you remember the scene in Men in Black where they have no leads? They don't know how to get the upper hand on the bad guy. So they go to visit an alien race that solely exists in a locker.
I think so.
They open a locker and it's all these tiny Cronenberg-looking freaks. And Will Smith, at the end of the movie, goes, shouldn't we tell them that they live inside of a locker? And what does Tommy Lee Jones do? He brings Will Smith to the Earth's locker and opens it up, and it's just a hallway of giant aliens, and the camera still zooms back on their civilization all the way back to a marble that a tentacle is playing, and it's a farce. Mm-hmm. But that's fine because you just got done watching a science fiction comedy. Immortality is not a science fiction comedy, but it decided to commit to a premise that's as much of a joke as the Men in Black marble end stinger. And to that I say, neck-snapping whiplash compared to what was promised.
I didn't find it to be tonally incoherent whatsoever. I thought
Is there a grain of truth in what I'm saying?
I just feel like this argument is, you feel the way you feel, and that's genuine, and I can't ask you to feel differently. It reads to me like the person who boots up Doki Doki Literature Club and is upset they don't go back to the dating sim.
Oh, okay.
It's like the game...
No, that would be true if the dating sim part was the core appeal. Imagine if I loved math and I was playing Frog Fractions, right?
Right. Yeah. Another great example.
And I'm like, I can't believe I'm not doing division.
Right.
And I'm doing a text. Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. And I think what upsets me is what it could have been.
What did you want it to be?
I wanted it to be sorry, I just thought of Until Dawn came to mind just now. Whereas that is a teenage horror.
Yeah, it's a B-movie horror film.
And why am I not upset that a fantastical Wendigo comes in and spoils everybody's day? Mm-hmm. Probably because Wendigos are more believable than transhuman ethereal beings. That was a smaller pill to swallow.
I see.
If you cannibalize something, you become a Wendigo in this certain zip code. I'm blasting through games here. No, I would be less upset if the found footage and if like the performances and the production value weren't as high as it was.
Tell me if this is an accurate description of your feelings. The Sam Barlow style of game is fairly rare in the industry. We don't get too many, there aren't many imitators. That's a fairly unique experience in the video gaming landscape. So when you get one of them, it's a special occasion, and you thought you had another, fairly straight mystery to solve.
I thought it was going to be like an Inscription twist.
And then when the game revealed itself to be utterly different than it advertises.
Left field, yes.
You felt robbed of a fairly rare type of game style you do enjoy. The Doki Doki Literature Club thing, Dating sims are a dime a dozen. There's hundreds of them.
Uh-huh.
There aren't many Sam Barlow found footage mystery games. So the fact that this one transforms into something else, you felt robbed of a relatively... there aren't many examples you can now turn to get that mystery solving fix. They're kind of rare. And this one wriggled out of your hands. It became something else.
Right. I think these types of games are in short supply. This one, looking as good as it did, made me value it. You know M. Night Shyamalan?
Yeah.
You know how his movies always have a twist?
Right.
And the twist is not bound by reality. I wanted this one to be bound by reality.
Why does it bother you
maybe,
that it isn't?
No, that's not even true. A person having an identical twin and them like and sharing a consciousness, like even that's an easier thing to swallow.
Uh-huh.
I just wanted it to be in the stadium. It didn't have to be a line drive to first base. I just wanted it within the stadium. This took the baseball all the way to a different continent, and it didn't land. It just stayed in orbit.
How long did it take you to find the weird stuff again?
It took me the 30-minute mark.
Okay, that's probably where I was too. I feel like I started to uncover weird stuff early enough that it just felt like it was a natural part of this game's laws and order. It's not like I had been playing Red Dead Redemption 2 for 60 hours and it's this super well-realized, down-to-earth simulation of the Wild West, and now there's aliens. It's like the game was weird from the jump. It was weird. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't feel like there was any rug pulled out from underneath me.
Why did Ambrosio not come out?
Why did Ambrosio not? I mean, Minsky's obvious. There was a death.
Yeah.
Why did Ambrosio not come out? I don't remember.
Like Carl's death being an Alec Baldwin gun misfire.
Right.
Great. That's all I needed. Like,
and that they actually filmed that before that happened,
which is crazy.
Yeah. And then the tragedy occurred in between creating it and releasing it.
What did you think at first? Did you think it was aliens? Did you think it was like a future Marissa? Or is that not interesting?
I think I didn't theorize too much.
Why did you say that this was like one of your best favorite games ever?
I'll tell you when we get to our top 10 list.
All right, then we ought...
Wow, what a whimper. I wonder how much of your displeasure in Immortality is because you're confused.
It's like 15%.
So not a majority stake.
Right.
I've seen every piece of footage in the game and every secret.
Maybe Sam Barlow comes on like David Cage and says, "Thank you for playing my game."
So I think things are fairly well explained by the end. As far as sequence of events. She was
a French person molested by...
Spoilers.
No, yeah, we're going to transplant.
Okay.
She was abused by German soldiers and only survived due to supernatural possession.
The one and the other, they've existed forever. They apparently
crucified Jesus Christ.
Planted the creation story. They were Adam and Eve. The one...
Oh, yeah.
They gave us these stories of creation to hopefully raise humanity to what they deemed to be a higher state, one where morals existed. This is where Christianity came from. Apparently, the one is Jesus Christ because she takes a variety of forms. She left the cave because she recovered because she doesn't die.
She left the cave because she...
The cave of Jesus Christ.
Duh. Yeah, thank you.
So this is a story that's been going on forever and ever, but the one eventually did come to admire humanity for our artistic expression.
Right.
The other was more cynical, wasn't quite the believer she was,
right.
Thought humanity would continuously disappoint her.
Right.
The one, I think, wanted to become more human. At one point, the one kills the other.
With the gun. Yeah, Carl.
Oh, yep, and Carl, because they're inhabiting them at some point. These are shape-shifting vampire immortals who...
What happens to Amy Archer?
At the end of the game,
you go to like eyeball to her watching it, like it's so out the window, Chris. What happens to Amy Archer?
So she is the other at the end of the game.
And she's like, "I'm reborn."
Are you talking about the final scene where Marissa's on fire?
No, that was your final scene?
I think that's the final scene in chronological order.
That is mid two of everything, filmically.
No.
And chronologically.
That's not. It's the final scene.
It was
filmed.
like August of 1999.
How could Marissa appear in scenes after she's been set on fire?
Because it's
No, you're wrong about that. It is the final scene. Boot it up.
She's a doll. Like, it's not real.
Well, I mean, they didn't actually burn someone alive, so yeah. There's two ways to sort the clips on the date filmed and then scene.
Arthur Fisher dying. Oh, what?
Oh? I don't even remember that. Arthur Fisher, the original director, dies in a clip? In two of everything?
That's two, of course, one of the ending. Darn.
Maybe I didn't see every clip.
Give me thumbnails.
You're not booting up the game because you've uninstalled it.
It's not on this system.
Oh.
Okay, so Marissa burns. And at this point, that's not the real Marissa. They made a doll, you think?
Yeah, just practically how they filmed that scene. It is probably a mannequin.
And that's
but in the lore,
not Amy Archer.
In the lore, Amy Archer's the one dousing her in gasoline.
Right, but that's not... But so far, Amy Archer is an actress in the Two of Everything film.
She's been taken over by the other.
Right. And Marissa's been taken over by the one, but that's not Marissa.
We never got to know the real Marissa.
Because this is where the reality starts to just fade away.
See, I like living in the ambiguity.
And that's fine for like... The end of Inception is one of the best science fiction endings ever, right? You remember that ending?
Yeah.
The spinning of the top.
Very ambiguous.
We don't know if it's a dream or reality.
Yep.
And you're saying that this is that same flavor.
So as I've been playing Death Stranding, I, for fun, listened back to our old shows where you talk about it. And you're like, the more they explained at the end, the less I liked it.
Which game is this?
Death Stranding.
Right.
So it could go both ways. The more explicit explanations given, sometimes you don't want that.
There's no way that this game won't circulate into other conversations we have in the future.
Right. It'll come up.
For better or worse.
It'll come up every other episode.
No, it won't.
I guess it's just not for you. I mean, it's definitely a weird game.
Chris, like, we can come across every game that has ever had a twist. And what's the closest thing to this? If The Witcher 4 came out and it's anthological, maybe? Because I think Geralt's story has been told a million ways. But if you got a Witcher 4 that is just as narratively rich as the series, and they threw a wrench in there, you would think... maybe you wouldn't think that much of it. Maybe you would say that this is like a creative choice to separate it from the original series, and they ought not have done it. You might have compared it to Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah.
I compare this game to not Andy Warhol. What's the SNL actor that does things deliberately to upset the audience? Andy Kaufman. This was Kaufman-esque. Are you familiar with Andy Kaufman?
Not even a little.
Okay. Not even a little, really. Andy Kaufman would wrestle women to demonstrate that men are more physically overpowering than women.
Okay.
Despite him not being an athlete himself. And the joke is that he thinks it's very meta, sometimes called an anti-comedian. He disdained telling jokes in a traditional sense.
And how is this a metaphor for the game?
Because they tried to do something just so out of left field for art's sake. Doki Doki I can understand because it's a clever twist. Imagine that which is supposed to be most appealing and romantic becoming that which is most hostile. This is just a monkey wrench. If you weren't so gassed right now and you listen to this episode, it's gonna play a lot better.
You say it betrays what the game was going for, or it's like a big departure from the tone it had set, but I felt like the game's tone was weird right from the very start. It's not like with your new Witcher game betraying where the series had been before. There's nothing to betray. The Immortality is the game. It didn't change things as the series developed. It's just this game. And the whole thesis of the game is the twist.
Oh. How can you say that the real life footage aspect and the adventures of Marissa, Marcel, and all of her buddies,
Yeah.
and the side story that is the one and the other one,
Right.
and see them as like one can't exist without the other?
You watch the straight footage with all the acting in the movies.
Yeah.
And there's some confusing threads, and then you get the meta layer, and then you rewatch clips with additional context, and things start to make more sense. Now that you know Marissa is the one, she's
Things
possessed.
start to make more sense. Ugh.
You learn that Amy Archer is the other.
Following the death of Carl?
Somewhere in there, yep.
You were I think here's the we're gonna put a bow on this. Ready? Watch this. You enjoyed Immortality for its pathos. I disliked Immortality for its logos.
Where does it betray its internal logic, though? I mean, yeah, we have to suspend our disbelief that there is this universe where there are immortal beings in it.
Yeah, and
if you can,
and I'm willing to suspend it from like a bungee cable. That's my level of suspension.
All right, why doesn't Mass Effect bother the shit out of you?
Because it's aliens?
Yeah.
Because I can buy into an aliens setting.
And let's just spoil Mass Effect. Every 10,000 years or so, all organic life gets wiped out by a sentient race of giant machine reapers that look like squids. That's less of a jump than some people are immortal? It's like the fact that it uses live action footage to Heath means it must be a grounded story because there are real people. There can't be anyone who's immortal.
But are there no games that jump the shark too much to you? Are all games like
when you say
that's
jump
their
the shark,
creative expression?
When you say jump the shark, that means a betrayal of the expectations or the groundwork that was previously set.
Right. Has there been no game that has defied your expectations in a negative light?
Surely some have defied expectations.
Like The Fall, when I was like, you should play this fun game, and you're like, this controls like trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. No, that's another game with a great twist and a premise that I can get into.
All right. Maybe this is the core of the problem. You keep complaining about what you signed up for, and I went into this game blind with no expectations.
Okay, but you can play Undertale and be like, I wish it was more bullet hell.
That's something I think I'm pretty good about. I don't like to criticize games for what I wanted them to be. I just want to assess them on their own merit.
You have yet to supply me an example of a game that has subverted your expectations negatively.
Okay. The ending of 13 Sentinels let me down a little bit.
Ah, yeah.
All right, incoming spoilers for that.
Dude, we're crossing media landscapes here.
Everything is fair
Nothing
game.
is safe.
Yep, the fact that there's so many twists, went to great lengths to justify how this could all be working together. And then at the very end, you learn it was a simulation. That pulled the rug out from under me. Why did you need to justify so many things? Like teleportation could happen in a digital simulation, no problem.
Right.
And the fact that the game goes to great lengths to finally reveal that no time travel was happening. Sorry, I misspoke a little bit. Time travel could happen in a digital simulation. And then the game justifies how it doesn't actually happen.
Uh-huh.
But then it was in a simulation the whole time.
Okay.
So it could have.
Okay. I empathize with that. Still, I say that the game might not be a 10 on 10.
Yes.
But time travel not being a physical construct of 13 Sentinels by the time you get to the 11th hour, it does not break the camel's back because it was like a science fiction story that if 13 Sentinels pulled the Men in Black and turns out everything was inside a marble that tentacle monsters are playing on a grand chessboard.
Yes.
That would be like, what? That would give me some whiplash. Because up until that point, the game was treated fairly seriously. Outside of like jokes between characters, in universe, it's grounded in its science fiction.
Right. It had internal logic, 13 Sentinels, until I felt I hit around the ending, which was around the 45-hour mark. And then I was like, oh, my previous expectations have been betrayed. You can't apply the same criticism to Immortality.
I sure can.
When weird stuff is popping up in the first 45 minutes.
Okay.
You're like, oh, the first 30 minutes I spent were pretty grounded. It's not allowed to do anything funky for the rest of the duration.
No. I'm not saying that it's not allowed. I'm saying that for Jacob Geller to say that that's the greatest moment in games of 2022, and for you to say that this entered your top 10 games of all time.
I didn't say that.
It's not?
I said top 20-ish.
You're the backtracking?
No, it's
You're
in there.
backtracking harder than Marissa when I got the playback in reverse.
The exact sentence was top 20 to 25, somewhere in that echelon. That's what I said.
Okay. I think that your dissatisfaction at the subversion of expectations in 13 Sentinels with regard to time travel not being an actual thing is less of a jumping of the shark and more like a skipping of the guppy. This game could have been so cool. And instead I'm dealt with a freakish gold man sitting next to a slimy lady sitting next to a late night talk show host. I'm done.
And that's wild. I love it.
It's wild in the same sense that a gorilla hurting another gorilla is wild. I want to look away.
Okay. All right. I have a wild proposal for you.
That's why I'm more... yeah, you want to pick this up later?
What if our top 10 list is next episode?
I would much rather we record it solo and just tack it on in.
Ooh. No, then we'll do it. I'm good to do it. You've re-energized me. And now I need to elevate Immortality's ranking out of spite. All right, we'll take a break. I'll drink some water. And then we'll wind down this episode. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
All right.
And we're back.
We're back. Here, let's have some light brevity for 1 second.
Okay.
You know how like every application gives you your year in review now?
So, I heard urine review.
Oh, sorry.
I was like, wow, that creatinine really spiked this year.
Year in
You
review.
could have a year in review.
My board game stats tracking app gave me my year in review. This app is a glorified file browser. It's just an app I use to listen to music I have locally installed on my phone. It gave me a year in review.
Oh, yeah.
That's funny. But the transition
What are
here
your tastes?
is I think this is the first year Steam has ever given me a year in review. Did you get a Steam year in review?
I did see that.
Let's
it's just gonna
briefly talk about the highlights.
well, press on while I pull mine up.
Sure. This is a pretty comprehensive view of what I played in 2022. I didn't play much on other platforms. I know Heath was much more spread out. My Nintendo review was just a blank canvas. Actually, fun trivia question, Heath. When was the last time Chris brought a Switch game to talk about on the show? Because I brought one today. It was Sparks of Hope.
Sparks of Hope.
What episode number? We're on episode 80.
9 days, 9 doors?
That was PC?
Okay. Oh, what episode number? It's gonna be 70.
So like 10 episodes ago?
Yeah.
I think it's even further back.
Dang.
Oh yeah, here we go. It was Luigi's Mansion 3, and that was episode 56 in 2020. So yeah, my Switch has been collecting dust. The year in review echoed that. But my Steam one, chock full of stuff. My most played game of the year was Yakuza Kiwami 2.
Oh, yeah.
It was 14% of my playtime this year. Right behind it was Halo Infinite with 11% of my playtime. And then Control with 10%.
Yeah.
So those are the top three. Oh, fun breakdown here. 79% of the time I play with a controller. 21% of the time keyboard and mouse.
Sorry, did that up to 100%?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
79-21.
No arcade sticks?
So heavy favoritism with the controller. I unlocked 403 achievements across 17 games.
Is that high or low for you?
I don't know for me, but it compares us to the Steam average user, though. My 403 achievements were quite higher than the Steam average user's 21.
That makes sense.
I played 38 games, although I didn't really. Some of them I was just launching to benchmark
was
my
like
new
just
graphics card.
Lucky Dice or whatever that fucking game is.
This surprised me. The average Steam user boots up 5 games a year? What? That's so few.
That is few. Maybe they're just doing League.
That's not even on Steam.
Oh, then I have no explanation.
Dota would be
Okay.
the analog.
Yeah.
New releases of the games I played this year. How many came out this year? 8% of the games I played this year released this year, which is lower than the average user's 17%.
Oh, that does make sense.
I think we both fall into this category. Steam calls this the recent favorites list, which is games released more than 1 year ago, but fewer than 7.
Fall Guys?
Why did you say Fall Guys?
That was... Go on.
That's 87% of the games I played.
Uh-huh.
That's like you. We like recent stuff, but we wait for it to get cheaper. That's more than the average user, by the way. And then not a lot of representation on classic games. This is the percent of games that I played that are older than 8 years old. And that was only 5% of the games I played. The average Steam user plays more retro games or classic games. 19% of their catalog compared to my 5%.
What counts as retro?
Older than 8 years ago.
Oh,
is
yeah.
how Steam categorizes it.
Valiant Hearts.
Yeah, the first one.
Just barely.
It gives me a breakdown on genres. It looks like I'm big on FPS, card battlers, and party-based RPGs, which I feel is pretty accurate. It's also funny, I think because of Immortality, there's one blip on here. I'm a hidden object player.
Oh, that is a nice classification.
So just hunting and pecking for things on the screen.
What's the next best hidden object game?
There's a whole cottage industry
Like
of
Agatha Christie?
And then there's I like this chart. It's a playtime by month. So we can see I like to play games in January. And then I don't really peak again until October, November.
Huh.
So I guess I go outside. I touch grass during the summer.
Well done.
All right. That's all the things of note. Let's look at yours.
Hey, everybody. Okay. The game I played the most was
Ooh.
Mass Effect, just duration. Maybe I left my PC on overnight.
Because it's 49% of your playtime on Steam.
Huge, yeah. Next highest is Case of Golden Idol.
18%.
Yeah. I got 35 achievements to how many? Chris is how many?
400 something?
Yeah, okay. All right.
But you also spent a lot of time on the Switch this year.
And Epic Games.
Where I'm just a Steam boy.
You are.
Oh, you're inversed with the keyboard and mouse to controller ratio. Wait, so did you play Mass Effect with keyboard and mouse?
Yes.
Oh, you're one of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stray, 13%. I am above average on achievements. Right at the average.
You played 5 games this year, like the average user.
My longest streak was 2
2 days.
in a row.
Yeah. Oh, you skew heavier on new releases.
And recent favorites, right?
I was higher on recent favorites.
Okay.
Because you are 67% recent favorites.
I don't touch classic games.
Yeah, you don't.
Although
old.
Mass Effect 1 would count.
It
Technically.
would, but then it came rebundled in the Legendary Edition, so it got kicked out.
What is this? What is this?
This is your genres.
This is weird. Wait, what?
Your biggest genre is cats.
That's goofy. That's funny.
Cats and mystery.
This is user generated tags?
Probably.
Okay.
And card battler. We are aligned on the card battler.
That we are. Whoa. Have you seen a greater precipitous gully?
Yeah.
No Mass Effect during Q2.
Heath played a lot of Mass Effect in February, a little bit in April, and then he'd be putting it down until September.
Yikes. Yeah, bang that out. Case of Golden Idol. Stray for a bit. Inscription over there. Firewatch.
Oh.
Maybe Seth played on my account.
Ooh, playtime by month. You were big in September, huge in September.
No Steam during the summer.
Yeah, not even a little bit. Oh, it gives you a breakdown by operating system.
That makes sense. This is all Jackbox.
I did not get that breakdown.
Controller.
Cool.
And that's it. Share with Chris. Oh, can I hack yours? I can just look at yours. Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. Does it compare your friends? Look at those. All right.
That's enough preamble. I'm going to put my sweater back on.
I'm going to put my pants back on. What? After all that men on cage talk. Can't spell immortality without tit.
We should talk about our top 10 games we played this year, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're past 2 hours.
You knew that was going to be.
I did not know.
We played a million games.
Yeah, we did. Ooh, a text message from Dan.
Ooh. Oh, because there is game night tonight. Oh,
there is.
Crap. What if I get the episode to you before game night?
Actually impossible. It wouldn't even upload in time.
No, all right. Delay Dan lay of game.
Dan will not be able to attend.
Rip, so it's just us?
No, Brian and Noah are coming.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so as tradition dictates, Heath and I, we have not necessarily played many 2022 releases, but we played a fair number of games.
Case of Golden Idol.
Yeah, I mean, us few are going to sneak on there. But this isn't exclusively new games. These are just our favorite games we happen to play in 2022.
That's right, with some caveats.
Sure, some caveats. Some of these games we've talked about this episode already, so we won't belabor the point.
Most of them we've talked.
Yeah.
I have named all but one of them so far.
So we won't talk at length about them, but we'll just run through it.
For Chris's sake, I will engage in max brevity.
Heath, do you want to kick us off with your number 10?
10 is Immortality.
So, wait, do you actually have 10 games? Oh, there's a gap.
There's a gulf.
Okay.
There's a gulf.
So,
Chris,
it wasn't for you.
Yeah, it's not for me. And the only reason I'm responding this passionately is because I wanted it so badly to be. I literally work on films.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be intrigue.
There's a lot of intrigue, but you didn't like the source of the intrigue.
Yeah, we're not talking.
Yeah,
spoiler.
this section is spoiler free.
Yeah. No, I think that Telling Lies was closer to and I think Telling Lies maybe scored. Yeah, I think I had less positive to say about Telling Lies back then, but now I'm looking back with
rose tinted,
ambrosio tinted glasses.
All right, fair enough. My number 10 was Sayonara Wild Hearts, the interactive music album game. It's platforming, listen to some cool poppy EDM songs. In a year where I felt several games I played were too long, they're just big time investments. I really appreciated the fact that this game, you're in and out in 90 minutes.
God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah, we didn't play it, but that's a game.
That's the longest game in existence.
That has some padding, yeah. Yeah, it just does not overstay its welcome.
All Freya, no filler.
Sayonara Wild Hearts has no filler. It's just fun pop song to fun pop song, and it had a good mechanical diversity. They mixed things up. You're not always just collecting, I don't know, Pac-Man-esque pellets that you zoom by. You also do archery. I won't spoil other things, but they mix up the modes of interactivity in such a compact game. The way it's paced is great. You're constantly doing fresh ideas, and then it's on to the next thing.
Mechanically diverse. Is this a Yakuza game?
I would compare it to the way people talk about It Takes Two.
Oh.
How you're not doing the same kind of platforming for very long.
Right.
And in such a short game, they can afford to be constantly innovating. In a longer game would have been more padded and mediocre. So yeah, Sayonara Wild Hearts, thumbs up from Chris. It's good. Moving on.
To your number 9.
No, well, we alternate. Oh, that's right. Heath's number 9 is a gap. So this is what separates the games.
The men from the boys. Actually, number 9 was going to be Overboard.
Oh, okay.
Just because it was quaint and contained, but I wanted it to... the production value needed to be a touch higher.
I see.
It needed to have voice acting, dude. Friggin'.
Oh.
Just make it Hades without the gameplay.
We need to send Beepo's voice actor into Overboard and out of Sparks of Hope.
That's right. No, number 9 is Overboard.
All right. My number 9 from early in the year, it was Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
Weird.
The Platinum game with Raiden. Yeah. So while I wouldn't say this was objectively the best game soundtrack of the year, for me, it was the soundtrack of the year. It defined the year. I listened to this soundtrack. I listened to Rules of Nature, and it has to be this way all year long.
And so did like a lot of the gaming population.
It was popping off in the meme format.
It had
a resurgence.
Revengeance.
It had its own revengeance. Yep, I'm a known Platinum fan on the show. I don't think it was their strongest outing, but I did like how it differentiated itself with its blade mode. What's the maneuver Raiden does when he yanks the spinal electrolytes out of enemy grunts?
It's
a Zendatsu? I think that's
right.
what it's called.
That is.
Peak satisfaction every time you do it. When you reduce the enemy's health, they're staggered, and you can go into blade mode, and the critical spot is there. And with the surgical precision of angling the blade, you just go right for the weak point, you grab out the spine, instantly replenishes Raiden's health to full.
It just Gatorade gushes him to max, yeah.
It's doing the Doom glory kills before Doom. Yeah, incentivizes aggression. Because you can be flirting with death frequently in Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, but as soon as you pull off a successful Zendatsu, you're back to full health.
Raiden was the trendsetter.
Yeah, I like that. Constantly balance it. You're always on a fine line of defeat or, perfectly fine. Adds a lot of tension and interesting approach to deflection in that game. It was a very solid
stagger those helicopters.
Platinum Games game, and it was my intro to Kojima storytelling. And I dug it. It was fun. Sundowner. All the bosses are great.
The memes.
And a very worthy number 9. Over to you, Heath.
No, I'm going to gap it again.
Okay, 8 is where you put the gap.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Then I will pick up with my number 8, which is Gears 5.
Yay.
Yep. From the Coalition, the latest third-person shooter from Gears of...
Cliffy B?
I don't think he's attached to the series anymore, but
Okay.
it was his brainchild.
All right.
And I kind of got exactly what I expected. It was another Gears of War campaign, and it had been several years since I played one, so I was ready for one. I have already talked at length about they tried to innovate in a couple ways, and they all didn't really mix up the formula meaningfully. Their attempt at an open world, their attempt at persistent progression. I do appreciate a different character focus in Gears 5. The characters you maybe thought you'd spend the most time with didn't show up as much as one might think. So yeah, they're trying to develop different members of the cast. I appreciated that fact. Biggest disappointment, biggest pop-off of Gears 5. Biggest disappointment was coming from Gears of War 4, there was a cliffhanger. And that cliffhanger kind of developed exactly as you would have expected.
Yeah, you did mention that.
It kind of went exactly where one might think it would go and didn't change things up until the big pop-off moment was at the end where Gears introduces a branching narrative. Never would have seen that coming.
Gears 6 is going to be wild.
Yeah, they'll need to do
Although Microsoft's not making games anymore. They're just owning theaters.
You think they should do Starfield next year, right?
Yeah, right.
Probably. Yep, Gears 5. A solid Gears campaign. The shooting, the stop and pop has never been
as kinetic.
I'd say it's never been as good as this, but
Uncharted?
it was exactly as good as I wanted it to be.
Okay.
It met expectations.
Yeah.
Cool. That was my number 8, Gears 5.
Gap.
What?
A gap again.
Your number 8 and your number 7 are gaps?
Right, because if I include Death Stranding Director's Cut now, then I won't be able to put it on my
next
2023 list when I finish it.
You're pacing
and you finish it.
You're pacing yourself.
And then we can see where we put.
Okay. So you're just playing the long con here.
I've been doing that since episode 1.
Okay. All right. In our most irreverent list yet, we continue on to number 7, squeaking in under the wire here. This is where I slot Vampire Survivors.
Oof.
And we talked about it this episode already, but I will just say there's something super amusing to me. What a goofy medium this is, where lots of the big outlets, they've already released their game of the year for 2022. And it got a big chuckle out of me to see IGN's nominees for game of the year and to see Vampire Survivors competing toe-to-toe with Elden Ring, both nominated for the same award. 2 games offering diametrically opposed experiences.
Yeah.
One, you play in no longer than a 30-minute burst. It's this pixelated, arcadey dopamine hit. You play with one thumb. The other, this fully realized, expansive universe to explore.
It's like if Avatar 2 was up for an Academy Award against a TikTok.
Exactly. Both of these things are lumped under this gigantic umbrella term we call video games. Right. And then we compare them, and the comparisons are ridiculous. But yeah, Vampire Survivors. I like that it's right above Gears 5, because Gears 5 was this visual showcase. Meanwhile, I like the game with the little pixely guy walking around a screen up, down, left, right. That was more fun for me than the HDR 4K.
More fun?
Yeah. I put Vampire Survivors one step above Gears 5. I liked it more.
I guess so.
All it took was twitching the thumb around. I don't necessarily need the HDR 4K graphics and ray tracing. It's sometimes the game design chops, as simplistic as they were, hooked me that thoroughly. And that's why Vampire Survivors was my number 7.
Bro, this is gonna be a free game on Epic
probably
in a number of months' time, right?
How much more free can it get when it's on sale for like $3?
Yeah. Okay. All right, Heath enters the battle again.
Welcome back.
Hey, my number 6 is number 6. Yeah, is Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Very good.
Also another of the episode entry. I find it is as charming. What did I say it was? I compared it to Super Hot, but it's really just as...
I'm still not sure I follow that comparison.
Just like flow state, strategic, positional.
There's the case to be made where Super Hot is kind of a strategic puzzle game.
Sure.
It's pseudo turn-based. I think I've called Super Hot pseudo turn-based before.
Yeah. Mario plus Kingdom Rabbids is... Oh, I lost my train of thought. Oh, I was going to compare it to... It gives me the same vibe as I had plugging away in Pokemon.
Oh.
Just kind of carefree. If you're not paying attention, you'll lose a gym battle or two. But for the most part, you're just traversing through like different landscapes and worlds. And there's things to see. Much in how in friggin' Pokemon, there were like trainers you could talk to if you really give a crap. There's Rabbids you can look at giving each other wet willies. Just bypass that. You're there for the strategy game and trying to catch them all, trying to get all your party members. I look forward to plugging away. That's how I phrase it.
Very good. It's a comforting game in that way.
It's my number 6. How high Shigeru rises.
Right. 6 and 5 were really tough for the ordering on them for me. Both games do one or two things exceptionally well and then have very glaring flaws in other elements of them. And the two things they do well are opposites, so it was hard to compare them. I'm going to say my number 6 game was Nier Replicant version 1.22. The first game I talked about this year. Returning to the first game in the Nier series, coming from Automata. This is a game I'm so grateful to have played. The tense there is important. To have played. I don't want to play this game ever again.
Right.
But the memories I made playing Nier Replicant, I do cherish. It's a special game. The vibes are second to none. The sound, this is objectively what I would call the best soundtrack I listened to this year.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Kiwami 2.
No. No,
Because you play it at every game night.
Yeah, I think it's a little more.
We've never listened to a Replicant song.
Yeah, I think it's a little less listenable and just, I don't know.
Because it's on the workout playlist?
The context of playing. No, it's very orchestral, very ambient.
Oh, it's on the opera playlist.
It's on the Olympics playlist, actually. Remember that? They played a Nier song.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's very grandiose.
Yeah.
Oh, this game will always live in my mind as the game I played in the thick of having COVID for a week. That's when I was wrapping up like the cool endings. My throat was very sore. Nier Replicant was there for me. Some of the highest highs I had all year in a video game were because of Nier Replicant. Big pop-offs, big satisfying endings to the game. However, Yoko Taro, he made me play Nier Replicant a couple times too many to finally reach the payoffs.
Yeah, it's just it.
There's too much redundancy, too many playthroughs that don't shake things up enough.
Ending W.
Absolutely abysmal side quest design to the point where it almost feels intentional.
What, an act of futility on the part of the player character?
Yep. The thesis of Nier Replicant is kind of to break down and be a subversion of a JRPG. So I think that was the purpose behind the tedium of the side quests. Met some very memorable characters in Nier Replicant. It's a game I will remember for the vibes, the soundtrack, the story. The combat was mediocre, and the structure was repetitive, but it's a special game to me, and that's Nier Replicant. My number 6. Back to you.
Woo! My number 5 is Papers, Please on mobile.
Woo!
That
counts.
That counts. Hey, so what can be said? It's just one of my favorite games on a phone. It had transformative properties in the fact that though you don't have a keyboard and mouse cramped desktop window to keep all your documents, you have a cramped phone screen that literally caused dragging the rule book onto the surface is literally hard with that limited space.
Hey. Adapting it to the platform.
Lucas Pope is my dad. Sorry. No, I love Papers, Please, and that's the first game I've mentioned on my list that I've seen credits.
Is there any content differences in the mobile version, or just control changes?
It is a 1-to-1 port.
Okay. I should really play Papers, Please.
No, because you're gonna be like, this is just Death Stranding for Eastern Europeans.
But I like Death Stranding.
It's like busy work.
I like Death Stranding.
All right.
And the runtime has to be short.
Progression curve is much less in Papers, Please.
I see. Do you get like a thicker stamp or something?
You might as well, yeah. The progression curve is like a photo of your family that you just keep in the corner. Hey, that's my number 5.
All right, then I'll crack my number 5.
I'm dying for more Lucas Pope is all that really means.
Yeah, it's too bad he's designing software for like, what's that thing called? The Play Date?
Yeah.
With the
if
crank?
that were cheaper, it'd be a no-brainer Christmas gift for certain relatives.
I admire his ingenuity for designing for such a niche device. I just dislike the opportunity cost.
It'll come to PC.
Okay, hopefully.
It will, dude.
All right, my number 5. This is where I slotted Wildermyth.
Was that the other game that does things right?
Yes. This is the game that its whole crux is just your emerging player-driven narrative that branches off of your decisions, constantly throwing a randomly generated but coherent storytelling, which is cool. Not many games attempt that, unless it's a very systemic game like a Dwarf Fortress. But this was trying to apply it to the party-based D&D role-playing session. As you roll your characters forward into future campaigns, it does a good job of paying fan service to the characters only you know about.
Fan of one, yeah.
Fan of one. And sometimes, since we're being brief here, I never mentioned what my favorite moment in all of Wildermyth was. And my favorite moment, it was late in my first campaign. My characters were highly leveled, proficient wizards and archers, and I had a decisive story choice to make. I had the opportunity to take my main mage character, who was kind of carrying the party, And she had the opportunity to like either become this kind of like soothsayer, fortune teller type.
An NPC, basically.
Yes, she would retire from the party to permanently provide us with a future info buff, making us actually avoid future calamities. Calamities were like these roaming bands of monsters that would tear down upgrades you've done across villages across the overworld. If I retired my main mage, she would prevent future calamities that I wouldn't have to deal with. And that was it was a binary choice, and both paths were so different. Do I keep my high-level character for her combat proficiency, or do I avoid future battles altogether but lose access to her?
Is that persistent after death, or do you lose her if you have to restart?
That was a permanent choice.
Yeah, okay.
There was no getting her back.
Uh-huh.
She lived out the rest of her days in a cabin in the woods somewhere, predicting the future for me, for my benefit.
Okay.
You get presented with do or die impactful decisions frequently. That was the best one for me in my playthrough, but Wildermyth does a good job of letting you custom tailor the story as you see fit, let characters kind of choose their destiny according to what you think they would want to do. It's role-playing in like the traditional sense of the word.
In the classical, yeah.
Yeah. And that's why it clocks in at number 5. Oh, the shortcomings of Wildermyth?
Production value.
Budget production values.
Yeah.
Yep. Over to you.
What's my number 4? It's Mass Effect 1.
Hey.
Mass Effect 1.
I thought it might go a little higher, but this is pretty good.
I'm glad I aced the first one, because now I can go into Mass Effect 2 without... Now I'm in Mass Effect 2, everything can go wrong, and then I won't feel the need to restart.
I see. Because 1 went so well.
The highlight of 1 is the moon mission.
Oh, I thought you hated the moon mission.
I did hate the moon mission.
Oh, I know where this is going.
But its implications when we get to 2.
I see.
I'm racist against Edie. That's me employing like what the character would do. Wildermyth,
role-playing in the classical sense.
Yeah. And also like Batarians, you know.
Just Batarians.
I love to hate Batarians. No, the freaking asteroid planet killing mission was like the second thing I ever did.
Which is funky.
Yeah.
Because that's DLC.
Yes. Great memories with Mass Effect.
And Rex. Oh, all the stuff around Rex.
Oh, yep. Rex is awesome. The best character. I didn't even touch Liara. There's probably a favorite moment deep in Mass Effect 1 that I'm not going to get to because I have such a backlog. Yeah, maybe it does belong higher. Anyway, it's like what else can be said is just
it's pretty high.
Yeah, Mass Effect is really good. It's got that BioWare magic.
Oh man, where is BioWare? They're making something.
They're making like Anthem 2 or something.
No. Okay, my number 4. This is one I didn't expect to be this high, but at the end of the day, I couldn't justify putting it any lower with the amount of fun I had with it. This is where I slotted Monster Train.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's favorite imitator to Slay the Spire, a deck-building roguelike game with a little bit of tower defense-y, lane-based elements to it.
Yeah.
The synergizing opportunities in Monster Train are
unrivaled.
Second to none. It does a good job of you do encounter, then opportunity to upgrade, then encounter, opportunity to upgrade. It's the exact same cadence all the time, and it never gets old. Slay the Spire was a little bit... There's more of a branching path in Slay the Spire, where you might have several encounters in a row, and then you get the campfire. But the constant get a cool upgrade in Monster Train, immediately apply it, then upgrade, then apply it. I couldn't put the game down because it's the constant feedback loop. It feeds into itself. As soon as you successfully complete a battle, you instantly want to see what cool toys you get to tinker with your deck next. And then, of course, as soon as you make the decisions of how you've upgraded your deck, you want to immediately see them in action. I almost never played a Slay the Spire run in a single sitting. Many times I would do a Monster Train run in a single sitting because I just couldn't put it down. I would take a quick banana break, and as I was in the hallway walking to get my food, I would mutter to myself, this game is really good.
I gotta hurry back and play more.
I was like, I can't believe how good this game is, actually. So, yep, it was not the cheap imitator I thought it would be to the deck-building crown. It is on even footing with Slay the Spire. Monster Train is excellent.
And like Gears, they had a narrative implicating cliffhanger for Monster Train 2.
I don't think they did.
Is there not more where that came from?
No, the narrative is super light. So yeah, it's just monsters.
Did
on
the
a
train get to its destination?
If you are successful, it does.
Okay. And then you hop on a monster plane.
Oh, that's the sequel.
All right. My number 3
Yes.
is I think I know what it is, but I gotta check. Oh, it's 13 Sentinels. Aegis Rim.
Oh.
13 Sentinels.
Wait a minute.
What's wrong?
What's your number 1?
What's wrong?
I'm just lost in thought, thinking about what's higher. Proceed.
So Janice, avid friend of the show, sending you things. You send me things in the form of story highlights.
I said he should send it to a group chat.
Yes.
I want you in on this.
Yeah, and I didn't know what to comment because I didn't want to like ruin anything. Just the asynchronicity of how he's playing.
Right. Janice is playing 13 Sentinels. I don't know if we said that.
Yes, yeah. and we're not even gonna dive anywhere in this. 13 Sentinels it's the biggest risk taker. It's
In what context do you mean that?
just so many moving parts.
Because I agree. I think one fun way to look at it is it's a huge risk for Vanillaware. They've never done anything like that. They make action games.
Yeah. I'm not even thinking about the mechs.
Right. The mechs are kind of a footnote.
It's window dressing.
But the Shinonome 2 turrets is apparently don't sleep on that.
Apparently not. And I've since, you know what I want to correct the record. And I said that there was like a World 4 that had a mission that I didn't do. I was mistaken. That was just the final battle.
Okay.
That I mistook for a post-challenge sequence. 13 Sentinels is an adventure. And I think of all the games that, because Janice has played Immortality.
He's currently playing it.
Yeah. I want to talk to him about 13 Sentinels, and the camaraderie that it generates is a testament to how much fun it can be. To be like, wow, Goto, wow. Lots of secrets that I can't go into, so I want to leave it at that. That's my number 3.
A very solid choice.
13 Sentinels.
My number 3, this is where I put Yakuza Kiwami 2. This is the year where I don't know how you want to say it. I either re-embraced my Yakuza fandom or fully embraced for the first time. It's good to be back. It's good to know that I have like a dozen more of these games just waiting for me to play. You'll notice Yakuza Kiwami played it this year, not on the top 10 list.
Yeah, weird.
Only because I felt a little weird making 2 Yakuza entries, but also because Yakuza Kiwami 2 was just that big of a step up above Kiwami 1. Huge production value increases, far more appealing combat mechanics. The world feels better realized. The story, while maybe not better written, was far more entertaining in Kiwami 2. At this point, I am just a huge Kiryu and Majima simp. I love these guys. They mean so much to me.
There's so much of them.
You can never have too much. I love these guys. They're some of my favorite characters in video games.
If only it was dubbed.
No, that would ruin the authenticity of the Japanese setting.
Wow.
The music slaps. Yeah, I'll throw it into the conversation of favorite soundtracks of the year.
There you go, yeah. Deservedly.
This was, of course, a remake of Yakuza 2, and the new Majima chapters they custom made just for this re-release. Huge emotional impact. Cherry on top. Loved it. Yakuza Kiwami 2, also my most played game of the year. Running the cabaret club, the nightclub.
The hostess.
The hostess club. I sunk hours upon hours into just that minigame sub-story. But
dude, if they had that at Nerdvana and you got my hands on it,
man,
we wouldn't have left.
That would be pretty meta as we manage a restaurant in the restaurant.
Yes!
dispatching drinks as we order cocktails.
You get my Death Stranding star.
I adored my time in Yakuza this year. The Streets of Kamurocho, can't wait to return.
Is Kiwami 2 the one where you have to deal with the imposter Kiryu?
I think so.
It's the best game ever.
It's so good, man. All the many dozens of sub-stories are just goofy and fun.
You have to hurry up and get to, I was going to say Life is Strange.
Like a Dragon.
Like a Dragon.
I have to get there. I have to get the Judgment.
Yeah.
My work is cut out for me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move back to you.
You don't have to get the Judgment super fast.
But because I have been listening to the Lost Judgment final boss theme, and I want to hear that in game. So I've got to get to Lost Judgment.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's time for my number 2?
Yes. Yeah.
My number 2 is...
I'm at a loss of what your number 1 and 2 are.
My number 2 is Outer Wilds, Echoes of the Eye.
Oh.
Yeah.
Despite being unplayable.
So, yes. It was enough to get it off of number 1.
I see.
Because I think that horror thing should have failed compliance. I think that not being able to see them at a distance, the brightness thing, being like blind as a bat. In the darkness of space, I can be on the sunless side of a planet and still make things out without even sending my launcher to lighten the area. I can crawl around. Maybe I can't. No, maybe I can't. Actually, no, that's not true. Like when you're in Ember Twin and you turn off your flashlight, that's a gameplay mechanic. Is turning off your flashlight. It's like part that discovers a secret. So maybe that's not true. But you should have. It would have been so like. What's the harm in having some draw distance between you and the bad guy? Yeah, there's fewer jump scares.
Yeah.
Which is clearly like it was a deal breaker to not like they wanted this to make your pants as brown as the Adle Rock.
That was great.
Thank you. But you had to do it 3 times. There was the hotel. And this is out of context, so it's fine. There was the hotel, and then the freaking gongs. I love the gongs.
They are cool.
The alarm. It makes perfect sense.
Yep, it does.
Yeah. So just that aside, all the revelations and. Maybe if it had greater interconnectedness with the rest of the solar system, it would be an all-timer. But just the bang for your buck that you get is considerable, and it just makes the what is it, Traveler's Edition, Explorer's Edition, where it bundles it all together.
Okay,
easy purchase. Outer Wilds is still a gaming supernova,
an all-timer.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's why it's number 2.
All right. My number 2 is Control.
Hey.
Control from Remedy. I think their best game. It was super satisfying.
Insert object of power joke.
Yeah. The game, it operates well on like the power fantasy. You get all these cool powers. You get cool guns, and you're blasting those hiss back to the astral plane.
What are the? I didn't know what that was.
The names of the enemies in the game are the hiss.
Oh.
Because of the sounds they make.
Uh-huh.
Control fires on all cylinders. The gameplay is fun. The universe and world building is super compelling. That has been their strong suit. This is like, what if Alan Wake's fun story dialed up the weird and quirkiness even more, and the gunplay was far more compelling. So yeah, Control, it's the best Remedy game, bar none. I can't wait to see where they take the series going forward. The Oldest House, probably a top 20 coolest setting in a video game, somewhere in there. Very distinct. Exploring it is fun. Light Metroidvania elements where you do circle back to previous areas.
The Oldest House, though, is like the whole setting. Okay.
Yep, setting.
All right.
Yeah, the
so
whole game.
I thought, like, how does that stack up with Clockwork Mansion? But that's a level.
True. Yeah, there's a bit of a distinction there.
Okay.
Story, cool. Leaves some stuff open to interpretation. And Dr. Casper Darling steals the show quite often. Great performance by him. And that was Control. Big number 2, recommend.
Ready for my number 1?
Is this going to be a year where it's like out of left field? Here comes Piku Niku.
No.
Okay.
Wait, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot Piku Niku
was your number one that
was
year,
my number
whatever
one?
year that was.
All right. Well, the number one for this year is Case of the Golden Idol.
Oh, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I thought you were about to hit me over the head with a Stray.
Oh, imagine.
Yeah.
Imagine. No, I haven't played enough of this Stray
Gotcha.
to do it. Case of Golden Idol, the reason it's number one is just that, and maybe I'm doing this all out of spite with the Immortality. It just did what it set out to do. And
This again.
look at you writhe.
Well, it's your number one, so I'll let you talk.
Case of the Golden Idol, it was just tons of fun that I got to share with Bailey. And as everybody knows, that's kind of just become the litmus for my gaming experience. I have fond memories of Mass Effect, but if you can give me a game that I can share with relatives when they come over for Christmas, or I played Nidhogg with Dan, it just elevates the game so much more. And what better way than with like logic puzzles that Bailey and I'll make our own for each other, like that one time on my whiteboard. Just super fond memories. And although I think I said that it was just too much work at times, or no, it started to feel like work. And that's on me, because you really got to just consume it like you would Brain Age. You can't just play like every mini game all at once and say that you're the smartest person ever, even though I am. You got to play Case of Golden Idol in chapter form. It's a hidden object game.
True.
And they could not be further apart. No.
That's why one is your 10 and one is your 1.
One is my 10. Yeah. This is the year of the hidden object.
Right. Big resurgence.
And speaking of hidden object, after I'm done bad mouthing Chris's favorite game, he's gonna make me disappear. So I loved Case of Golden Idol, and it's a proof of concept that just needs to be explored some more. Even the fucking hints were verbose and not dead giveaways. Throw Obra money at Case of Golden Idol. I think that's my wish. Like these games, yeah. If I like a game enough, I'll just wish that I get more of it. And that's Case of Golden Idol.
Very cool. I heard one person draw a comparison to the Case of the Golden Idol, how it and members of its ilk do something kind of fun, where in most video games that you play, you, the player, you provide the input to the game. Your button presses, and the game is a computer, and it interprets whatever triggers you were pulling and shows you the results. And that's the game. Where games in the Obra Dinn school, the Case of the Golden Idol school, the game is giving you the inputs. It puts the inputs of information into your brain. And the game kind of lives in your brain. That's where all of the connections and the spider webs take place. All the theories are formulated. All the deduction leaps are leapt.
The Rube Goldberg is between your eyes.
Right.
Okay.
The game provides the inputs. The game is processed in your head, and you spit out the result. It's kind of an inverse of how the AAA game industry operates.
What a self-flatulating take to have. It's my game of the year is the game I made in my head.
But it's just kind of a way to distinguish these knowledge-based games from the traditional video games we know of. All right, that was my input on Case of the Golden Idol, because I haven't played it. But I look forward to having it play it next year.
You'll find, you know what? You'll put it right next to Sayonara Wild Hearts.
I think I'll like it significantly more.
Make of that what you will.
All right, yeah. My number one game of 2022 was Immortality. It was my favorite experience of the year, and it's such a singular game. I haven't played anything really like it. Her Story is the only comparison, and that's from the same creator. I just loved being in that state of bewilderment Immortality kept me in for hours on end. I loved being there. I was on the edge of my seat. I was trying to make sense of what the hell was going on. And maybe maybe what colors your perception of the game is the order of clips you see, since it is so random. I think everyone starts with the exact... No, you can start with any clip you want, right? Because
it starts with the late night.
Okay. It starts on late night. The exact second clip I saw raised so many questions. There was kind of a harrowing scene going on right at the very start, and I couldn't tell if it was actors acting, if it was the actual people encountering this nasty situation. I could not make heads or tails of it, and it was just down the rabbit hole from there.
That was your second scene?
I'll just say the very second scene I saw was an instance of sexual assault, and I could not tell how fictional it was, and it threw me down this loop. Yes, Immortality. I like the films straight up. I like the performances, some of the best I've seen in most video games, and the secret meta layer stuff. As much as Heath hates it, I loved it. And Immortality, I was enraptured for the 3 or 4 days I was playing it. I was constantly thinking about the game as I was going about my business when I had to go do stuff like, I don't know, eat dinner at Thanksgiving. I was thinking about what was going to happen next in Immortality. How could it all possibly come together? And it came together for me, and I'd never played anything like it. It's my number one. As I increasingly enjoy games that offer novelty and innovation, I felt that the game had both of those qualities in spades. That's why I give it my top marks for the year. I like Immortality a great deal. And Heath disapprovingly exhales.
Like Dick Nanigans had novelty and whatever you just said.
The reference is lost on me, I'm afraid. I'm going to assume it's awesome. It's got to be awesome if you're comparing it to Immortality. Is this based on Filthy Frank?
No. Right? And she does that to the camera.
Dick Nanigans.
And it's like, what do you think? And I'm just like, it's Dick Nanigans.
I take it back, Heath. My game of the year is Dick Nanigans.
No. And so this is what I imagine you're like playing, getting the credits of Immortality.
All right, I have a couple. So you find Immortality.
This is
obviously,
me.
It goes without saying, you find Immortality pretentious.
Yeah.
I think it's a game that has many interpretations, some of which may be a little pretentious.
If it were not a video game, you would not be as starstruck as you are.
I can't even imagine what it would look like if it wasn't a video game.
If it was a play, and the Marissa Marcels and the people are in the foreground,
sure,
and then in the pit, like the orchestra pit, or on a screen, or like a multimedia thing, or like in the crowd, or just like,
okay,
they do that.
The one and the other are doing their thing.
Yeah.
In some unconventional way.
We would walk right out that theater and be like, let's go to Lux, maybe. Just like it would be an evening killer.
No.
You would get season tickets?
Yeah.
You would be like this, you'd be like, wow.
Want to say we finished our top 10 here?
Yeah, let's. Right. 2023 is a lot of this.
So let's talk about our New Year's gaming resolutions and goals.
Yes. The goal is to make... Oh, you won't even see my runtime even if it's on a different system. The goal is to make this number...
The listeners don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's a problem. The goal is to make the Mass Effect credits.
For two?
Two and... Two? Oh, do I do 2 and 3?
How ambitious do you want to
But then you'll be like, oh, you can't put them on the same top 10. It'll be weird.
No, you can do that.
Okay.
I wanted to highlight the quality disparity between Yakuza Kiwami and Kiwami 2.
Fair enough. Yeah. Witcher 3, credits.
Really?
Prey, credits.
Ooh.
Dishonored 2 credits. It's going to be...
This is an apology year for me.
This is, yeah, 2020, because we're going to end the year with episode 100.
Potentially.
Yeah.
The past 2 years, we've released 11 episodes per year, which would take us to about 91.
Oh. Ooh.
See
Well, you like a shorter episode.
I do like short. This episode is egregious.
This is a good car ride, is what it is.
This should be episodes 80 through 82.
When my brother drove from South Bend, Indiana to Rochester, I like to think he listened to it twice. What are you going to play in 2023, Chris?
Yeah, I've got 3 goals. Most ambitious one, I want to roll credits on more games. I am disgusted with myself these past 2 years. I'm not clearing games like I used to back in my prime. I want to finish 25 games in 2023. It's going to be a year of video games. So that comes out to be about a game every 2 weeks.
Okay.
I think that is ambitious, but still within the realm of possibility. Got to set a high bar for yourself. So that's my overarching goal for the year. And my 2 specific goals that are definitely way more doable. I want to beat a Yakuza game, because if I want to keep up with the rate they're releasing them,
you have no
I
choice.
need to chip away.
Yeah.
And the other goal I have that's kind of very specific, I started doing this unintentionally and then kind of leaned into it. A lot of the games I've been playing lately just happen to be 2019 games. So this started with Sayonara Wild Hearts, into Gears 5, into Control, into Death Stranding. I'm just cleaning up 2019. I want to finish my 2019 backlog this year. So, sneak peek of what that means I'm playing for the listeners. Before the year wraps, I want to dive back into Resident Evil 2 Remake. Expect that.
Wow.
I want to get my hands on Sekiro. Shadows Die Twice. And I'm saying the right title here. I want to play Outer Worlds.
Oh, okay.
That one. Yeah. So that'll clean up 2019 for me. The motivation for that is so that I can finally listen to the Giant Bomb podcast for that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do fun end-of-year stuff.
I believe it.
Oh, maybe if I'm feeling quirky, I'll play some Astral Chain.
Oh, oof.
That's a 2019 game.
I mean, it's gonna be... Astral Chain is good. Fun times with cops.
And threats.
Have you heard of the Bayo 3?
With the voice actor?
Not just the ending of Bayo 3.
I only know that it upsets people. But
Yes.
don't tell me, because I now own Bayonetta 3, so I will play it.
Oh, no!
I will walk into it blind.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that would be enough to, all right.
Dissuade me?
Just,
no, I'm too big of a Platinum Games
mark.
fan. Yeah. Every year I need to play one.
Surely, just play Vanquish again. We should end it.
Yeah, that is a podcast.
All right.
Send us emails.
Let us know who, okay, so actually, people listening to the show that don't play the video games that we play, let us know which video essayist is more your cup of tea. Chris's Jacob Geller, spelled Geller, or Heath's Bobby Broccoli. Because that's like the barrier for entry is so much less there. I actually think that Justin, I will buzz his last name. I think he'll say that, oh, I watched this video when I was repairing an algorithm. That's my Justin impression.
Yeah, send us emails. You can write to us at mobiustubespodcast@gmail.com. And now I'm going to go do anything else but make this podcast.
Bye, everybody. I'm glad you listened.
Yep, it was fun. See you later.